What about this? What about that?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? What about that? About that? What about this? What about this?
What about that? 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 What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? About that? About that? What about this? About this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? What about that? About that? About that? What about this? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What
About
about
that?
that?
About that? About that? About that? What about that? Negroes. Ha ha ha. Peace, folks. Welcome back to another edition of the Prophet of Thought series right here on the old T.P.O.T YouTube goddamn page. I'm your host X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why your black asses are here. Tonight, my man is on tonight, so I know this is going to be good. This is going to be good. My man, Brother Supreme, is here tonight, man. And tonight we're doing a what about? And it's what about the cost of criminality? Yes, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about your raggedy ass brother, uncle, father, your sister, your aunt, your mammy. We're going to talk about these criminal motherfuckers tonight, boy. And I guarantee you, you motherfuckers are going to hate the shit we got to say tonight. You're definitely going to hate the shit I got to say. I plan on making it so. I plan on it. But before we get started, as always, y'all know I always start the stream off, man. Thanking you, good folks, man, for your likes, your shares, your views, your subs, and of course, your hard-earned pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and 50-cent pieces. Because I realize you don't have to do it, man. You don't have to watch these goddamn shows. You don't have to show up to these streams. You don't have to like. You don't have to share. You don't have to sub. And you definitely don't have to drop your hard-earned coins on this platform. but you good folks choose to do so, man. Night after night, week after week, you are here when you could be anywhere. You are here with us. And I want you to know, man, that I don't take you lightly, man. I never have and I never will. You got my word on that. I'm humbled. I'm honored. I'm appreciative, man. And I'm thankful to you good folk, man. I know I get up here, man, and I talk shit to you. And I say a lot of shit you don't like. And I'm going to continue to do so. Yeah, I'm going to continue to say shit that you don't like. But one thing I won't do is disrespect you. You got my word on that. All right. All right. Oh, and before we even got started, my man D Rock Den finally broke down and became a member of the T.P.O.T YouTube page. He couldn't stand it anymore, y'all. He had to join. He had to do it. And it's appreciated, brother. You know, when you join this here platform, you get this.
Outstanding. You just joined the page? Cool, cool, cool. You know it's appreciated.
Yeah, brother D Rock. Outstanding, my brother. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all of you good folks, man, joining the page. It means a lot. But without further goddamn delay, my brother, the one and only, S.K.C, is here. Brother Supreme, what's good with it, man?
Nothing much, man. Just sitting here enjoying the evening. Got a nice glass of cab sitting in front of me, and ready to get into this and see what happens.
Yeah, man. Because I was looking at a few things, man, and I'm pretty sure you have some stuff too. But I watched your video the other day. I was just coming back, man, and I was like, oh shit, man, I gotta hit brother SKC up, man, so we can talk about this shit. Um, I wanted to do something on it. I wanted to do something on it before, but it's been crazy lately, man. Like I've been back and forth, man. The last couple of weeks, I was in Georgia, I was in Pennsylvania. Goddamn, work's piling up like crazy. It's been kind of hectic around here at the old X camp. Yeah, it's been a little hectic, but yeah, I'm right back at it, man. And I want to go ahead and I want to share something with the folks before we even get started. Let's see here. Probably should have had this queued up already, y'all, but I don't. So just bear with me as I look for it. Here we are, right here. Go ahead and share this. There we go. All right. I want to share this with y'all. And this is something out of the Atlantic. Uh, and it says America is having a violence wave, not a crime wave. But we'll go on. We're going to get into that later, y'all. But this is what it says. It says, as violent crime rose in 2020, property crime continued a years long decline. And this is written by someone named David A. Graham. I have no idea who he is, but yeah. It says a historic rise in homicides in 2020 and continued bloodshed in 2021 has incited fears that after years of plummeting crime rates, the U.S. could be headed back to the bad old days when a crime wave ripped the country from the 1970s to the 1990s. Now, those of you who grew up in these major cities, you know exactly what they're talking about. Um, I know I was a kid coming up like in the 80s, and I'm from New York. And see, I didn't live in New York City, but I hung out in New York City a lot. Let me tell you something, man. In the 80s, New York City was crazy. I mean, it was like insane. There was parts in New York City that the police just wouldn't go there. Yeah, they get a 911 call from there. Shit, they turn their damn CB off. They just turn it off. But yeah, the FBI's Uniform Crime Report for 2020, released Monday, suggests something stranger. Perhaps America is in the midst of what is specifically a violence wave, not a broad crime wave, even as violent crime now, led by significant jumps in murders and aggravated assaults, property crime continued a years long decline. There was no crime wave. There was a tsunami of lethal violence. That's it. Philip Cook, a crime reporter at Duke University, wrote to me in an email. The murder rate rose by nearly 30%, the largest increase on record. There were about 21,500 murders, or 6.5 per 100,000 people. Aggravated assaults, the most common form of violent crime, rose 12%. Among other components of the violent crime rate, robbery actually decreased and rape reports were flat. But property crimes overall fell 8%, led by drops in burglary and larceny, though motor vehicle theft increased. This kind of divergence is very unusual, especially how much violent crime rose. On the most basic level, the culprits for the strange year in the statistics are clear. Guns, the coronavirus, and protests, big changes in the crime rate, correlate with the start of the pandemic and major protests after the murder of George Floyd. As I noted last week, but figuring out how these factors work and how they are entangled with one another is difficult and perhaps impossible. Some logical surmises exist for why the pandemic would have driven down property crime. More people were at home in 2020, and burglars generally avoid occupied homes. Yes, that's very, very true, especially here in the South, because down here it's open carry, stand your ground, and we have the castle doctrine. So you don't want to be running up in nobody's house when they're there. You definitely don't want to be running up in X's house when X is there, because I'm probably just going to shoot you. That's probably what I'm going to do. Because see, I'm gonna think about all the people that I have here to protect. I'm not gonna wonder what you're doing. I'm not gonna ask you if you lost or no. You kicking my shit. You're gonna hear kaplow, kaplow, kaplow. That's what you're gonna hear. So of course, home invasions and shit like that were down during the pandemic because everybody's home. You don't want to be running up in nobody's shit while they're there. You're a bold motherfucker if you do running up in somebody's shit. Your ass will get clapped. But that being said, why robberies, a violent crime, sank if fewer people are on the street and many businesses are closed? A would-be robber has fewer opportunities. But vehicle thefts, a property crime, rose because cars were left on the streets rather than being driven to work. Yet, if the pandemic helped depress property crime, the results follows a year-long trend. Since a recent peak in 1991, overall property crime rates rose only once. Now I'm going to stop right there, right? Just to kind of set it up for y'all. Now, we've seen crime, right? We've seen it. We see it on TV. You got this no bail, no cash bail thing going on. You got in some states, you got if you steal something that's less than $1,000 or $900, we ain't gonna do nothing. You run right in the store and steal $999 worth of shit, then you don't even got to worry about it. No one's gonna chase you. No one's gonna nothing. So some of these things have kind of incentivized more criminality. I believe that people who would normally be doing this kind of shit have drummed up the nerve to do this kind of shit because they already know the consequences are going to be very, very light. Now, you already have people who live that life. They don't give a shit. They don't care about going to jail. They don't care about going to prison. They don't care about none of that shit. They just in that life. Those people are going to do what they do. My thing is the people who would normally be caught up in crime, the people who normally wouldn't rob and steal, the people who normally wouldn't commit these acts are now doing it. That's what I believe because they have been incentivized to do it. So let me ask my brother to my right here. Do you think that, I mean, because forget the pandemic and COVID and everything else, people losing jobs and stuff like that. Of course, that's going to cause people to rob and steal and do all kinds of bullshit. But what do you think of the no cash bail? What do you think of the anything you steal less than $1,000? Don't worry about it. We'll just charge it to the game. What do you think of these policies that have kind of been put in place over the course of the last 2 years?
And I'll answer in just a second. I just first, if you hear background noise, I am not at home. I'm at the office, so
Oh,
uh,
okay.
I know downtown gets a little crazy sometimes, especially on Fridays. So, but uh, it's one of those things where the no cash uh, bail or bond situation creates a lot of other issues. And another thing, when you were reading that article and it stated that certain crimes, basically lower level crimes, had gone down, and also that the writer was basically stating that there's been a violent surge, not a crime surge. I disagree with that. And I disagree with it because of what you stated earlier. The no cash bail or bond system
Hmm.
that is connected with progressive prosecuting policies. Those progressive prosecutors have openly stated for years that they are not prosecuting lower level crimes. So all of the things that were mentioned, like home invasions, um, all of the lower level crimes that the guy was stating that were nonviolent or per se nonviolent, those things weren't being prosecuted. So a lot of times you had the police that were not called, or that these people were um, let go uh, upon being caught by the police. You have a lot of those situations. So um, it's kind of like they're cooking the books in a bit, where they're stating that crime is going, certain types of crimes are going down. Well, yeah, those are the types of crimes that all of those progressive prosecutors have stated that they are not going to prosecute against. They're not even allowing some of the cases to even be presented before them. A point in case was, let me give you this story, and I'll pull it up and share it on my screen. Let me go there really quickly. Pull that up. I didn't think I was gonna use this tonight, but since the topic came up, I think it will be a good one to show. Um, I don't know if you heard about the case that happened in New Orleans about a week ago, where there was a young man. He was 17 years old, and there were three females that were with him. Uh, the oldest female was 16. The other two were 15 apiece. And they carjacked a 73-year-old woman. And she happened to be all white. And as they carjacked her, the boy was having problems getting her out of the car, and her arm got caught in the seatbelt, and they jumped in the vehicle and dragged her several feet, several hundreds of feet, until her arm detached and she
Damn.
died in the street.
Damn.
Okay, so they went out and they found the individuals that did this crime. Let me see if I can find it. New
Damn.
Orleans. Um, uh, I guess the teenage killers,
So
carjacker.
I'm sure it wasn't labeled a hate crime, right? It wasn't labeled a hate crime.
No, it wasn't labeled a hate crime.
Is is that because the perpetrators were black and the victim was white? I think it
You
would have been
know,
labeled a hate crime if the perpetrators were white and the victim was black. It probably would have
it.
been a hate
Hey,
crime.
that springs up a whole other argument. Um, Nevertheless, the I guess the interesting thing about all of that, and let me see if I can find it really quickly. But the the young boy that was 17, that was connected to all of that. Um, he had been arrested 25 other times.
Wow.
Now he was 17 years old. 25 other times he had been arrested. Again, that goes to show that idea of progressive prosecutors not um, prosecuting these people when uh, when they get involved in all of these lower, quote unquote, lower level crimes, and then they escalate.
Yeah.
So Uh, so that's why I disagree with the article, and I disagree with that argument of when people say, "Well, no, actually, crime is down. It's just that violent crime is up," and that's talking about something else. And it's like, no, the majority of the major cities that account for overall crime have progressive prosecutors who, by policy, are openly stating that they are not prosecuting lower level crimes.
But isn't this is what people want, right? Or so they say, right? Oh, the police are too heavy-handed. I've heard people say, "Oh, that shouldn't even be a crime." I've heard people say that shit, like, like something that's a legitimate crime shouldn't be one because of whatever, and we can have a whole nother stream on why, they think that is. But I don't think you're doing society any favors by not arresting people when they commit a fucking crime. I just don't believe that I just don't believe that you're doing society any favors. You're not doing these people any favors by not locking their ass up when they do shit, when they stealing, when they robbing, when they doing all this kind of bullshit. You're not doing them any favors, man, by not locking them up. Because all you're doing is saying, okay, you can do all this bullshit, and guess what? Tomorrow you can go do it again. Next week, next month, next year, you can do this shit, and we ain't gonna do nothing to you. I think it sends a fucked up message, especially to young folk. Okay, young people who are already misguided and probably not getting the best of rearing and raising at home to begin with. And they're out there. They're robbing, they're stealing, they're carjacking, they're doing all this kind of bullshit, and there's no consequences, man, to to divert even a little bit. There's no consequences. I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't.
Yeah, it's a weird situation, and here's the story. I don't know if you want to share
Oh
my
yeah,
screen or not.
there we go.
Fair use, of course. But
Fair use, Negroes. Fair use. Let me put my banner up. Fair use,
News for you
Negroes.
this morning. 4 teens now in custody less than 24 hours after police say they were involved in a horrific carjacking that left a 73-year-old woman dead. The four initially seen here on this surveillance video, and this afternoon we are getting you some new details into how police managed to track them down. All new at noon now, WDSU's Aubrey Killian is live for us. And Aubrey, two of their parents actually turned them in.
Hey, Randy, that's right. So, yeah, investigators say that the parents played a critical role in this. Take a look at your screen if you can. So, we've just learned from the New Orleans Police Department that all four juveniles in this case, they have been arrested. So, the parents of the 15-year-old female, investigators say they turned her in last night. A tip from another parent led police to the 17-year-old male and the 16-year-old female. Investigators also say that the 15-year-old female, she turned herself in this morning. Linda Fricke's family described them as evil cowards. Family members say that she was leaving her job. That was at around 1:30 yesterday afternoon. She was forced out of her car and dragged for about a block. This all happened in the Mid-City area. Police say some of the suspects do have criminal records. The superintendent would not go into details with that, though, but he did say the teens will face second-degree murder charges, and he wants them charged as adults.
I would say absolutely. I would ask that they be charged as adults. I mean, look.
now the interesting situation about uh, this crime, like it was reported on, the two oldest, the 17 and the 16-year-old, both have previous run-ins with the police. The boy the most, 25 times before. He was involved in a more serious crime against a relative of his.
Mm. So basically, he's
Now,
just a
now,
he's just a waste of space. He's one of those waste of space Negroes.
well, the one interesting fact about it is that the relative didn't press charges,
Mm.
which probably would have helped to correct what he was getting involved in, but they didn't want him to go to jail and all of that type of stuff. So it's it and again, here's something else about the ex. This young guy, he's been getting into a lot of problems. How did he get three females to accompany him?
Because they're the same type of people, probably raised by the same type of people. But I want to say this though, because I heard something very interesting while I was listening to this report. The
Hmm.
parents, a couple of the parents, turned the kids in. Good for them.
Yeah, from what I have researched so far on the story, yeah, when they say parents, they're not talking about like some type of two-parent family where they turn them. No, it's all their mothers.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, good for them, man, because you fuck up, you need to face the consequences. I don't think as a parent you should be protecting your kid when they done fucked up and did something and killed somebody. You've
Hmm.
killed someone. Yeah, motherfucker. One of my kids killed somebody. Don't think you can hide out in my shit. Nah, motherfucker, I'm calling the police on you. Don't come here. Don't come here because I'm going to call the police. So good for
Now
them.
the other thing about that is now that does sound good on the surface. It really
Hmm.
does. It really does. But one question that I have to ask is particularly concerning the boy. Why didn't the parent turn him in way before all of this?
Yeah, yeah.
Why did it have to progress to this point? to where someone died that you say, "Oh, okay, well now he need to deal with the police."
Well, it's what we're talking about tonight, right? The cost of criminality. I mean,
Mhm.
it comes at a cost, right? Especially if, you're a parent to somebody and, if they're out there and they done been arrested, God only knows how many times, they're probably not the most uh uh they're probably not the most disciplined of kid, right? They probably a kid that cuts school. They're probably a kid that smokes, drinks, hangs out, comes in and out the house whenever they want. So, if you're a kid that's out there, you said this guy done been arrested like 20 some odd times already, and he's still a teenager, he's probably he's probably out of the realm of being controlled by whatever parent he lives with. I'm pretty sure he is if he's able to get out there and get arrested 20 some odd times. So,
Yeah.
there's a cost there, right?
Yeah. And there's another thing about this. Rewind it just a bit.
I would say absolutely. I encourage, I would ask that they be charged as adults. I mean, look at the nature of the crime. Look at what we're facing. I mean, brazenness, broad daylight, with no regards to this woman.
The prosecutor that is in right now, the district attorney of New Orleans, is another black man. His name is Jason Williams. Um, he's a progressive prosecutor. He came in, I believe, in 2021, early 2021. And one of the things that he ran on was that he was going to take away the possibility of teenagers being tried as adults.
Mm. But why though? Like, I mean, why? I mean, if
Here,
you go if
here's
you're gonna
here's
do
the
this,
reason
gonna
why.
do this shit, man, you should face the consequences, and they should be stiff.
Okay, and it seems like that would be the most logical thing, right? Nevertheless, this is what a lot of people are dealing with now. And I'll go ahead and share this.
Fair use,
Also,
Negroes. Fair use.
thing is in each one of these instances where prosecutors are deciding that they're not going to prosecute crimes, I ask you, who's taking care of the victims there? Who's speaking up for the victims?
This is not uncontroversial. The National Police Association filed a grievance against you, essentially calling you soft on crime. How do you respond to people who don't agree with what you're doing?
Change is never easy, but for the people that are not happy with what we're doing, they are deeply invested in the system working exactly the way that it does.
We're tough on crime, but we're smart on crime. When you have the ability to take someone's life and liberty, you have to be credible and trustworthy. We make sure that individuals that are under any type of investigation will not bring any type of charges to our office for review. We have to look at how we as law enforcement, I'm including in that, can build trust, heal the divide with the community.
So you're dealing with people who are coming in believing that the system of dealing with crime is absolutely broken and that it needs to be um, upheaval from within. That's what you're
Now,
dealing with.
I can agree, all right, that criminal justice should be, there should be some tweaks to it. I just don't believe that those tweaks include letting people just commit crimes and doing nothing. Making it easier for people commit crimes, making it easier for people to get out of jail after they've done some bullshit. I just don't think that that's the answer.
Yeah, see, they are saying that the criminal justice system needs to be pretty much abolished and reformed into something else.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit more of it.
System more fair to people of color.
People who are closest to the problem are closest to the solution.
All right.
How many years has he served?
20. It's flipping the role of a prosecutor on its head.
So we gotta take it block by block, street by street.
What we have seen traditionally are prosecutors, they run on these very punitive platforms. Increasingly, as we're learning that the system is not working, and we're seeing prosecutors now run on ending mass incarceration, on addressing.
You heard that?
Mm-hmm.
The prosecutor is working on ending mass incarceration. That's the opposite of what that has nothing to do with the job.
No. And they talk about mass incarceration, right?
Mhm.
Which is a term that's been thrown around for many, many, many years. And I don't think that you fix mass incarceration by I don't think you fix it by lightening uh crime and punishment. I don't think you fix it that way. Um when you're talking about people who are out there, especially when you're talking about violent crime, people getting killed and all that kind of shit, I don't think there should be some lightening of sentencing or lightening of prosecution. Or I just don't believe it, man. I don't believe it. Um, when it comes to like drugs and shit like that, somebody get caught with a $5 bag of weed or $10 rock of crack. No, I don't think they should be doing 20 years for that. Um, But when you talking about this other shit, man, when you robbing and stealing and killing folks and hurting folks, man, we need to go ahead and let that be what it is. Yeah, that we need to let it be what it is. All right. I can kind of give them some leeway on the drug shit. You some crackhead, the cop catch you with, a $5 crack rock. You shouldn't be up in the penitentiary for 10 years because you like to smoke crack. I can kind of give them some leeway on the drug shit. But the other shit, I don't know about those. But go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, it's really a weird situation, and I have to kind of throw a little alley oop here to Good Mother. Sometimes she talks about the whole thing of feminism, and it's emulating from or emanating from the ivory tower or academia. Well, this thing with progressive prosecutors. Let me show you another thing.
And y'all hit that damn like button, Negroes. God damn it.
Hopefully, I don't know why the screen is flickering, but when I'm away from my normal setup, that's what happens. But
Shit is blanking like a disco.
But as you'll see, USC Gould's School of Law. This is at a law school. To the guy to the left of the screen, the white guy, that is Larry Krasner, the district attorney of Philadelphia. This past year, Philadelphia beat its murder rate.
Yeah.
That occurred in the 90s.
Yeah.
So when you hear all these people that say, "Oh man, it wasn't as bad as the crack era," well, yeah, this past year in Philadelphia it was.
Yeah,
They
I heard
beat,
Brother Macon talking about it.
yeah, yeah. So and listen to some of the stuff that they're talking about.
Kind of lock them up, kind of more punitive, not more interest work. And I've been kind of a staunch supporter of through the years. And the concern about folks who want to enter public interest is how can I enter public interest work in the office of a prosecutor? Aren't prosecutors kind of lock them up, kind of more punitive, not more concerned about their conviction rate than about doing substantial justice? And I remember you said last year that one way to look at a progressive prosecutor, although many have adopted that moniker lately who aren't progressive prosecutors, it's become more or less an empty buzzword. Progressive prosecutors. Yeah, faux progressive prosecutors. Progressive, I like that. Prosecutors. You remarked that a progressive prosecutor, truly progressive prosecutor, is a public defender with power. And that resonated with me. That really struck home. Could you explain what you meant by that? And I think that could.
You heard what he just said?
What about the public defender with power?
Yeah. Yeah. How can you enter into a courtroom where the criminal has two public defenders?
Yeah.
How is that supposed to work?
One being the prosecutor, one being the district attorney.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, the criminal justice system has its issues, man, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people, they have, they have people who, I know I do. I got shit, man. I got nephews, man, that stay in and out of goddamn the penitentiary, the robbing and stealing and shit like that. And, there's a lot of people who have people in their family, as black folks, we ain't far from dysfunction. We only about 3 or 4 people removed, until we got some crazy person who stays in and out of jail, uses drugs, shoots folks, or sells crack, something. So I get it. Black people are like, oh, these laws, are against us, and these laws are racist, and the people shouldn't have to go to jail for anything. Uh, people people shouldn't be arrested for anything, because it's racist to be arrested for murder. It's racist to be arrested for robbery. It's racist to be arrested for any goddamn thing that's a crime. It's racist. So yeah, man. I just think that I think we are feeding the wrong beast. All right. I think we're feeding the wrong beast. I think instead of coming up with all these creative ways to not punish people when they commit crimes, I think we should be coming up with more creative ways to stop the crime in the first place. But that's just me. I'm an old
Monday night.
Negro.
You know what? Some of the criminals have been caught, like talking about some of the policies that happen with the progressive prosecutors.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one, George Gascon out of Los Angeles. This is what a criminal stated about him.
It's Monday night right here in New Folsom C facility, right here with my celly. Some white lightning, the little cup, boom. Salute. Celebrating us going home on this Gaskin direct. Whoa.
Yeah.
Mm.
Again.
Monday night right here in New Folsom C facility, right here with my celly. Some white lightning, the little cup, boom. Salute. Celebrating us going home on this Gaskin direct. Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when you see all of this, I would say additional crime going on, and all of the soft sentencing, the no bonds or really low bonds. Um, that's why I don't agree again with that article that you read of at the beginning, because it's not taking into account that the people who would be responsible for prosecuting a lot of these lower crimes have stated as part of their policy that they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
This went all the way up to the Supreme Court. We saw the thing with what's her name, Jackson, where she was grilled before Congress about how lax she had been on those who had abused children sexually. They did the math on it, and when those types of cases come to a court, there's they have a what do they call that, uh, a predetermined amount of time, a recommended amount of time that people should serve for certain crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she lowered she lowered
Yeah.
that.
They said 60%. They said she gave those people 60% less of a sentence
Well,
than what was
altogether,
recommended.
out of all of the cases that she did, the sentencing amounted to 47.2% less than what they should have gotten, or
Wow.
basically half the time.
That's
And
her
these were all
that's her
dealing with,
average.
yeah, and these were all cases dealing with little children.
Wow. Crazy, man.
So yeah, it's just one of those things that people want to talk about policies and all of those things. Well, here is a policy that affects everyone,
Yes.
everyone, and the opposite policy is easy. Be very hard on crime.
Yeah.
you know and so it doesn't take a lot of thinking to figure that out. What's the other policy that other people are putting for? Well, to be hard on crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
uh, there's another issue that I find that's interesting with all of this is over the last few years, even before, not even talking about the manosphere or whatnot, but just talking to people in general, particularly Black people, uh, let them have these very vicious ideas of what the police do and how they are, in everyday life, and very mistrustful. And I'm like, okay, well, now that things are going haywire and you have less policing, you have less arrests, you have this upsurge in violent crime. What is your answer to that now?
They don't have an answer, man. They don't have an answer because let us be clear here, man. A lot of times when people are talking about, get rid of the police and, we don't need the cops and, the cops just ride around and kill black folks all day long. I mean, a lot of these people, man, when they're talking this crap, a lot of these people are, a lot of them are so far removed from this. The people who are yelling the most about crime and it's too harsh and this and that, these people that they claim to be speaking up for, they wouldn't be caught dead around these people. They wouldn't be caught dead in these people's neighborhoods if they saw some of the people that they claim to advocate for walk up to their fucking door, they would call the police. You know, those same police that they say are too rough on these people. And there's a lot of that, man. There is so much of that amongst us where you got the people who are affected the least by this stuff are talking the loudest. You have these
Yeah.
prosecutors who want to be like, oh, well, you know, we're not going to do this, we're not going to be that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because you feel pretty safe in your fucking gated fucking neighborhood and the security guards are riding around. You don't have to worry about these fools walking around your house, do you?
Well, yeah, and that's another part of the conversation that I know it'll probably get a little tense, but let me stick a pin in that because I don't want to detract from the next point that you probably want to make with this ABC News report. So I'm gonna hold my thought there and let you get that off because there is something else I want to share, and
Okay.
what I'm gonna share is part of your words, X.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Some old vintage Xavier, god damn it. But let me read this right quick. It says it's just crazy. 12 major cities hit all-time homicide records. It's worse than a war zone around here lately, police official said. Now, this was in 2021, all right, December. It says many U.S. cities surpass annual homicide records. At least 12 major U.S. cities have broken annual homicide records in 2021, and there's still 3 weeks to go in the year. Of the dozen cities that have already surpassed the grim milestone for killings, 5 top records that were set or tied just last year. It's terrible to every morning get up and have to go look at the numbers and then look at the news and see the stories. It's just crazy. It's just crazy, and this needs to stop. Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney said after his city surpassed this annual homicide record of 500, which stood since 1990. All right. That's 30 years, 31 years. Okay. Philadelphia, a city of roughly 1.5 million people, has had more homicides this year, 521 as of December 6th, than the nation's 2 largest cities, New York, 443 as of December 5th, and Los Angeles, 352 as November 27th. Now, let's get this straight. This city of 1.5 million people had more killings in it than New York City. And there's 8, 9 million motherfuckers in there. All right. There's 8, 9 million people in New York City. I don't know exactly how many people are in Los Angeles. I'm pretty sure it's close to that. But I know for a fact New York is an 8, 9 million people city, man. And Philadelphia had more killings there than in a city that's like damn near 10 times its size. It's just freaking incredible, man. But they show this graph down here, and hopefully y'all can see it. It's the 12 U.S. cities that have broken annual homicide records: Portland, Oregon, Indianapolis, Toledo, Rochester. Well, Rochester's always been kind of crazy. Rochester is, in certain parts of Rochester, you don't want to be called dead in. Philadelphia, of course, 501 homicides. Columbus, Ohio, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Austin, Texas, Louisville, Kentucky, Tucson, Arizona, St. Paul, Minnesota, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, mind you, a lot of these cities, you're not used to hearing this, right? You're not used to hearing Albuquerque or Tucson, Arizona, or Portland, Oregon. You can kind of go along, Louisiana is a rough state. It's rough there. It's rough in New York. And I know there's parts of Ohio that ain't great. All right. But Philadelphia, places like Philadelphia, places like Rochester, Columbus, Ohio, Baton Rouge. I mean, those places you kind of know, those places you don't want to be caught dead in. You just don't want to do it. And it's crazy, right? Chicago's not on the list. Chicago is not on the list. Now, one thing about Chicago, we often reference Chicago because Chicago is rough, but they do something called per capita, right? So it's X amount of homicides against every 1,000 people that are there, 5,000 people that are there, 100,000 people that are there. And technically, Chicago isn't the most dangerous city, y'all. It's not. Y'all know what they say the most dangerous city in America is? St. Louis, Missouri. And I believe Baltimore is in second place. I think Chicago is actually per capita now. Chicago is actually number 4 or 5. It's beaten by St. Louis, it's beaten by Baltimore. There's another place in Illinois called Rockport, Illinois, that's more dangerous, so they say. So, don't get caught up in the minutia of all the killings that you're seeing, because they do this stuff by the numbers, they do it by the statistics. And I know, statistics and percentages ain't real numbers to certain folks, but
Oh, Lord.
that's how they do it. So go ahead, brother Supreme. I'm gonna stop right there, because what I'll do is I'll put this article in the chat. Y'all can go ahead, man, and check it out for yourselves, because y'all know that's how we do it here. Go ahead, read it for your damn self. All right. Go ahead, check it out. Read it for yourselves. Don't listen to me, because I know Brother Supreme want to share something. Get this out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna share something, and I know he ain't gonna get mad at me because he on a dang boat right now, so he ain't gonna get mad at me.
Oh shit.
But
Mr. Fantastic. Fair use, Mr. Fantastic. God damn it.
Yeah, man, over on Fantastic, we used to have this conversation a lot, particularly when all of the the Ahmaud Arbery, the Floyds, the all of those situations that came up, and conversations would come up, and people would say all this stuff about, oh man, the police or this, police that, whatever. And I remember this portion of this conversation, a couple of portions of it, but I thought this one hit home again, even though it's pretty old.
Of a cop in full on equipment, giving that sweet chin music off the rip. I appreciate you, bro. Shout out to my man T.P.O.T, the Problem Thought series. Brother X, thank you, brother, for the 5. Whatever happened to just going to jail? And again,
yeah.
Whatever happened to that, X?
But I don't know. Whatever happened to just going to jail, man? I mean, what happened to that? Well, you just go to jail, you done did some shit, all right, and maybe you didn't do some shit, all right. You go to court, you fight it out, you prove your innocence, or they prove your guilt, and you go on with your life. I don't know. I don't know what happened. And I think this was during a time when the whole Ahmaud Arbery, Rashard Brooks, guys were find themselves dead, getting killed. And
every dude on YouTube got super bad because, man, if a cop touch me, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do. It's like, dude, whatever happened to just chilling out?
Yeah, just go to jail,
putting the braces on, get in the back of the car.
Yeah,
dude, get processed, and then handle your business when you get out. Bail out, do
Yeah.
whatever, then handle it afterwards. What happened to that?
No, it's better to get into a scuffle. Once they say you under arrest, just commence the scuffling. That's going to make it better. That's going to make the charges go away. If you fight them and you win, the charges go away and you get to go home right then and there.
And it was so interesting to hear these conversations, because then you would hear all these dudes, they became Billy Bad overnight. and everybody was, oh man, yeah, I remember the police. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, so you think that it's a smart thing to get into a scuffle or to talk crazy with a person that has a legal license to carry and the legal permission to use it if threatened?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to make that situation more volatile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and escalate this. Let's go ahead and inflame this. I mean, if you think that a cop is being a dick to you, fine, man. Because I've always told brothers, look, man, as a father of sons and a grandfather of grandsons, what I want you to do is to survive the encounter. That's what I want. Survive the freaking encounter.
But what do we hear?
Hold on a second. And they're pleading with him, pleading with this white boy. Then the police says to him, hey, keep your hands off your weapon or we're going to put the dogs on you. He tells them, if you put the dogs on, I'm going to shoot you. They pleaded with this motherfucker for over 45 fucking minutes. Okay? There's another video where they're pleading with this guy, white boy. He drove off with the police stuck on the side of the goddamn car. Man, y'all need to really wake up and understand what the fuck is going on around here. I'm sorry.
Hey, bro, I don't disagree with you.
And I tried.
That's what I'm saying. Can I respond to that real quick?
No.
Wait.
No.
Hold on, wait.
No.
So you would get these arguments where other people would come in and they'll say, oh man, these white people get to do this and this and such 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 and such. And I'm like, oh, okay. Let's say that everything that you just stated was absolutely true, just 100% true. Why would you want to try to put yourself in a situation where you could possibly lose your life by trying to, I don't know, act crazy with the law because I saw a white man do it? Is it like,
Yeah,
what?
I saw a white man hit a cop, so I should be able to hit one too.
What? So I guess you want to be white then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is that the
Yeah,
excuse?
they
I
wanna be
just,
But doesn't that always become the argument though, right? Well, they let white people can throw stuff at them and hit them and fight them and they don't do anything. But what they're doing is they're going against their own argument. Fine. You say that they let white people do all this shit and black folks, they'll kill them. So if you really believe that, don't you think it would be smarter for you to just go to jail? Because see, they're not gonna let you fight them the way they let white folks fight them. They're not gonna let you shoot at them the way they let white folks shoot at them. So shouldn't you be saying, damn, they're not gonna do me like white folks, so let me just put my hands in the air and go to jail?
It seems like all of that common sense goes completely out of the window because that sounds like, oh man, you just gonna bow down to the white people. It's like it has nothing to do with that. It's man, it's just common sense, The other thing that gets me is when people throw off all of the things that criminals are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Where do and this is some of the reason why I think a lot of the crime is rising is because you have so many people within the community that have such a cavalier attitude towards crime.
Yeah. Because guess what? You will have people who will sit up and talk about this shit as if, it's some fucking achievement. All right. It's an achievement that you used to sell drugs. It's an achievement that you did all this bullshit and you've been and did 10, 15 years. It's a fucking achievement for a lot of these people, man. It's like some fucking badge of honor if you've had some fucking criminal fucking life, man. And you look
You
at
know,
some of these dudes now and you see how fucked up they are. I don't know how they could see it as an achievement now.
there's a perfectly reasonable answer to that, and sometimes it's better to hear it from other people who live it
Mm-hmm.
than to take the coon's word for it, because it's like, oh man, coon don't know nothing, blah blah blah, he just he hate his people and blah blah blah. Okay, well,
He
let's
hate black people.
actually listen to a dude, and maybe the audience can help me to understand, because I'm a dummy. I'm looking at the audience right now. I see what Trey is in there. I see my boy from Japan, Sir Abu Dayu is in there. Maybe he can help me. Lorenzo Davis, Truism, Cool, come on, Freeman's Journal. Maybe you guys can help me. Help me to understand what this guy means when he says this.
After 5 of them, it's normal. 100%. From the first time you see someone get murdered, you may be like, oh, wow, brains everywhere. To after 5 of them, it's normal. Wow.
Over 100%.
From the first time you see someone get murdered, you may be like, oh, wow, brains everywhere. To after 5 of them, it's normal. In New Orleans, murder make you popular. If you murder a few people, the women are going to love you. That's crazy. It sounds.
Hold it. Stop right there. Stop right there.
In New Orleans,
if you murder people, women love you.
Okay, but didn't we just see the I showed you the young boy who was 17, and yet he was able to have 3 females around him while committing the crime?
Wow, man.
Holding up a 73-year-old woman at gunpoint and carjacking her. They were all there with him.
Yeah.
So let me play it again. This is out of his mouth.
Well, to after 5 of them, it's normal. In New Orleans, murder make you popular. If you murder a few people, the women are going to love you. New Orleans, murder make you popular. If you murder a few people, the women are going to love you. New Orleans, murder make you popular. If you murder a few people, the women are going to love you. That's crazy. It sounds crazy. It is crazy, but that's New Orleans.
Wow. And what kind of women are these, man? I mean, what kind of woman gets excited because she know you done killed a couple people? What kind of person is this? Oh, you murdered a couple people? Come on, I'm gonna give you some pussy.
Hey, he's telling it like it is. He's telling it like it is.
Wow.
And it's like, do I care? No, I don't care. But it's one of those things of when people say, oh man, a crime happens in all communities and blah 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 and such, and it ain't no different. It's an American. No. Here was another quick thing from that video. I thought that was pretty interesting, considering what a lot of people will say about crime in general, particularly when it comes to Black people.
Late November. Homicide rates in Philadelphia continue to grow. This mural actually has the names of those killed or injured by gun violence over the years in the city. Most of those people are Black. Or injured by gun violence over the years in the city. Most of those people are Black. Or injured by gun violence. Philadelphia continue to grow. This mural actually has the names of those killed or injured by gun violence over the years in the city. Most of those people are Black. Killed or inside rates in Philadelphia continue to grow. This mural actually has the names of those killed or injured by gun violence over the years in the city. Most of those people are Black. Specifically, 83% of those shot in Philly are Black. Black people making.
How is that so? If it's just an American problem, how is that so?
8 out of 10 of them Black.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that probably 90-something% of the people who did the killing
are Black.
They're Black too. But no one talks about it. None of this matters, Brother Supreme. You know none of this matters, right? It doesn't matter that these people are walking around killing folks. It doesn't matter. The people who died do not matter. All right? Now, it would matter if it was, the Aryan Brotherhood doing it or the KKK doing it. Now, it would matter. But if it's other Black people doing it, charge it to the game. It doesn't matter. People, what's that shit they say? People die every day, B. So, yeah.
And and people have these conversations before, and it's been told to them on a lot of occasions, these exact things. However, here we are, 2022. In 2021, Philadelphia had a higher death rate than the crack era.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of the people, the lion's share of the people killed, are Black. They look like you.
Yep.
So I'm trying to understand this whole idea of, oh man, it's an American problem.
Yeah.
Think about
Well,
that.
no one really believes that.
If you state it in another way, if you were to take Black people out in this particular set, take Black people out of Philadelphia, your shooting victims go down by 83%.
Mm-hmm.
Take Black people out of Philadelphia, your shooting victims go down by 83%.
And here's another thing, a little sidebar. When you have all these Black people that are being murdered, how come the people who are on the whole our population is dwindling kick? Y'all are co-mingling and mating with non-Blacks. Y'all are hurting. Our population numbers, our reproduction numbers are going to suffer. Does this shit have any impact on that at all? Maybe not. All those people who are killed, they won't be making any more children, will they? A lot of these people who are killed, probably a lot of them were children themselves. So how come these people who always talk about how in jeopardy the Black race is never talk about how many Black people get fucking exterminated? Just a question. But go ahead, you got it, Brother Supreme. You muted.
No, I was just saying it's funny to me because a few years ago, I think it was like a year or two ago, there was this big schism because of all of the election stuff and blah blah blah. But one of the conversations that kept coming up was policy.
Mhm.
Put policy. And I was like, oh, okay, I just wanted to listen because it was like, okay, that's a interesting conversation. Well, now we're in 2022, and a lot of people were saying, oh man, racism's Racism. How could you with the racism? And it's like, okay, well, one of the cost of all of the crime.
Criminal justice policy soon. We are going to continue to have this conversation about the crime bill throughout the campaign trail. But we're also going to put forward some policies, Victor. So just wait and see. Give us a minute. Wait and see.
And as if on cue, Democrats now want to sound tough on crime. Axios reporting that later today, President Biden will ask Congress for $32 billion to fund the police. $32 billion. Fund the police. $32 billion. To fund later today, President Biden will ask Congress for $32 billion to fund the police. $32 billion. $32 billion. $32 billion.
So it's like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's a policy, isn't it? A fiscal budget that puts $32 billion back towards funding the police. Ladies and gentlemen, that's more money by far that was put in the 94 crime bill. By far. So, who is that going to affect? I want an answer. What do you think, X?
Well, we already know who it's going to affect. It's going to affect these neighborhoods that are on the lower rungs of the social economic ladder. It's going to affect the people who, well, it's not just going to affect them, right? It's also going to affect the rest of said society, right? Because if you're a woman and you're with this guy and he's a drug dealer, he's a robber, he's a thief, he's a carjacker, you're probably benefiting off of the proceeds of what he does. He goes to jail, guess what? Those proceeds stop coming in. So if you happen to have a kid or two that he's taking
San
care of,
Francisco's mayor is talking tough. She has promised tolerant.
suffer. They will suffer. And likewise, if you are a female and you're the mother of children, you go to freaking jail, guess what? These children's mother is gone. If they don't have a father, what happens to these children? Do they go to grandma's house? Do they go to the state? Are they in a foster home? Are they, because there is a cost to this. All right. People do not think there is a cost to this stuff, but it is. There is a cost of this shit, especially when the numbers get out of control. There is a cost. But go ahead.
You want to see some of the cost X? Let me
let's
show
see it.
you out of the words of a progressive black female mayor. You remember all that smash and grab stuff that was happening in San Francisco and blah blah blah, all that? Well, then what came out later that year? This was around the Christmas time of the year. Listen to this.
When we take the steps to be more aggressive with law enforcement, more aggressive with the changes in our policies, and less tolerant, more aggressive with the changes in our policies, and less tolerant of all the bull that has destroyed our city. Law enforcement, more aggressive with the changes in our policies, and less tolerant of all the bull that has destroyed our city. Take the steps to be more aggressive with law enforcement, more aggressive with the changes in our policies, and less tolerant of all the bull that has destroyed our city.
That does that sound like somebody's ready for the crime bill?
Yeah, they're ready.
Does that sound like when that infusion of 32 billion goes all throughout the states and particularly to all of the big major cities that had to deal with all of the destruction and fires and robbing and killing that was going on, because they're going to get the lion's share of all that money. What do you think that a person like this is going to do with it in order to save their political career?
But isn't she the same person? Isn't she the same person, man, who was talking this different shit a while back?
Oh yeah, she was the one. Oh yeah, we need to have less prisons. We need to reform how we do policing and the criminal justice system. Now we gotta get aggressive with crime.
We need more police.
Get rid of all this bull.
Well, see, this is the thing, Brother Supreme. When people get up here with this political crap and they say this stuff, it sounds great. Oh, let's police, defund the police, quit locking people up, and also it sounds great. It makes people feel good, specifically black ass people. It makes them feel good. So it's this whole feel good thing. I just want to make y'all feel better. It's not about us doing better. It's all about us feeling better. And it's always a broad, right? It's always this black broad up there talking this nonsense that doesn't make any fucking sense. They're always championing the worst of us. They're always championing the worst of actions. They're always in the front line when it comes to defending fucking dysfunction, right? And then they create this fucking mess, right? They always creating these fucking messes. And now somebody need to help me come clean it up. Somebody need to come and do what I said we shouldn't do a year ago. Somebody need to come in and make this better. This city that I fucked up, this town that I fucked up, this fucking county that I fucked up. Now I need somebody to come in here and help me fix it. The same old shit. Same old shit. Same old shit, man. It never fails. It never fails. You get these fucking women running these fucking cities, and boy, these cities get ran right into the fucking ground. And then they crying to the fucking federal government, talking about they need help on shit. Shit they fucked up. Shit is crazy. But go ahead.
Another thing that I saw that was interesting, here in Houston, there's there's a little league of what do you call them? They're like extremely lenient judges that that have been in the system for a little while. And I thought this story was very interesting. This happened a couple of weeks ago, which really doesn't happen in Houston at all.
Keith, as you mentioned, I did speak with a political science professor this evening who called the level of incumbent losses unusual, but he believes several factors played a role. With the polls long closed, the unofficial results showed 10 incumbent judges in Harris County lost in Tuesday's Democratic primary election, and one is headed to a runoff. Among the losing candidates, 4 criminal district court judges, 2 county criminal court judges, and 2 family court judges.
People want them out of there.
Out.
They want them out.
Out. Out. And out. And it's like I'm not the guy that's sitting up here, playing one side over the other. It's like, hey, whatever is best for your particular situation, your family, your community, your city, blah, blah, blah. But it's very telling that you
Were
had
these
this spike.
were these quote unquote progressive judges that got
Yep.
kicked out?
Yep. And here there's been this new law that has been passed about the judges so far as they used to have they used to be able to give lenient sentences and or let people go on this technicality or this or blah blah blah, and it would be kind of like you wouldn't be able to look up to see how this happened or who did it and which judge were responsible. It'll just say, out of this particular court, and that's it. You didn't know who was serving that day and or what particular courtroom and or none of that information. Well, now all of that is public information. And you have people who are tracking the stuff now and making sure that it's well publicized. If you were this judge, that was this criminal that had, I don't know, 4 or 5 different times in and out of prison, and you let him go again and he killed somebody, well, yeah, that's going to be public record for the world to see over and over here in Texas. And it's a good thing, because a lot of times people don't know what they're dealing with or what is the mentality of the prosecutors or the judges. But with that in place, people can have a bit more transparency in who they are seeking to be to fulfill those roles.
Yeah. I mean, and you should have an idea of who's performing the jurisprudence in your city. I mean, especially when you live in like a major city, like a big city like a New York or Chicago or LA, or you living in places like that, man. Those places are metropolises, man. It's millions of motherfuckers around there, and the more people you got around, the more likely you are to have crazy people around, criminals around, robbers, murderers, rapists. You increase the number of people, you increase the number of criminals. That's just the fact. But if you're not concerned with any of that and none of that matters to you, you don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know who the hell would move to Chicago, move to St. Louis, move to Baltimore. Like, I couldn't imagine moving to these places. You would think places like that, it would be a mass exodus of people moving the hell out. I mean, moving to, because these people don't care, man. It doesn't matter to a lot of these people, man. It doesn't matter that they have their children in these dangerous places. It doesn't matter that they have their children in these places where people are getting carjacked, getting murdered, getting shot. None of it matters. I'll let my kids grow up around this shit and then act like the fact that I let them grow up around this shit didn't make them who they are. It's society problem. It's the white power structure made them the criminal, not the fact that I raised them for 15 years in a bullshit ass city where people are getting shot, killed every day. Like, stupid.
Well, there was something that I wanted to ask you about, because you have more of a feel of the Northeast than I do, particularly in New York. I want to play this part, and maybe you and some other people. I know Cool Kamasi's in the building. He knows a lot about New York. I wish Mike V was here, because he could help me to understand this a little bit. Where do you think that this is going? I'm gonna play this section and then I'll ask the question.
Matter is, sir, which you also didn't point out, but I will, so we get this straight, is that we're actually seeing a decline in homicides and shootings.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot met today with New York City's Mayor Eric Adams to discuss collaborating on crime prevention and public safety issues that have negatively impacted several big cities.
WGN's Jenna Barnes is live downtown with that story. Jenna.
Micah and Ben, we're told the mayors met with Police Superintendent David Brown for about 40 minutes this afternoon. They did not get into specifics about what they talked about, citing sensitive police information, but they say they're moving forward from this meeting with a partnership. Information, but they say they're moving forward from this meeting with a partnership. Information, but they say they're moving forward from this meeting with a partnership.
We are going to be great partners in the work that we are all doing.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot welcomed New York City Mayor Eric Adams to Chicago Friday for a closed-doors meeting about crime prevention and intervention. To Chicago Friday for a closed-doors meeting about crime prevention and intervention. What? To Chicago Friday for a closed-doors meeting about crime prevention and intervention.
Help me understand that, X. Why is that necessary?
I don't know why two mayors of big cities have to meet with each other to talk about strategies about preventing crime and crime intervention. You would think that these mayors would be talking with not only other political people in their cities, but talking to, people inside the city. And why would he be talking to her of all people? Lightfoot. I mean, when I think Lightfoot, I don't think crime prevention. But the one thing about the brother Eric Adams, because I'm familiar with his record. He's a former police captain. He created 100 black men in law enforcement. I know he came up through the rough streets of New York. He actually used to be in a gang when he was a teenager. He eventually grew up, became a cop. Went throughout the ranks. Obviously, became a captain. He also used to be part of the New York Senate. I think he was part of the state Senate for a while. He actually was Brooklyn Borough president at one time. I mean, I'm familiar with his record. I'm familiar with Eric Adams' record, and I think he's probably a little more equipped than Lightfoot when it comes to crime prevention and shit like that, because of his accolades, because of his record. But that remains to be seen. But go ahead.
Now, I just wonder. I'm wondering this because, as Breed said in D.C., I mean in San Francisco, that she's going to get tougher on crime. Bowser in D.C. said the same thing. We got to get tougher on crime. Now you have Lightfoot and Adams meeting together. The budget was stated so far as $32 billion going towards refunding the police. Then you have this happening in New York.
And members of the NYPD's top brass testifying today before the city council as lawmakers are preparing to decide on the department's budget for the upcoming year.
Linda Schmidt is here now with more on what came out of the hearing. Linda?
Yeah, hi there, Steve and Lori. Well, first of all, the NYPD's 2022 fiscal year expense budget is $5.6 billion. And while the NYPD is justifying that the amount of money that the department has, some community activists believe some of that money could be better spent elsewhere.
While City Council's Committee on Public Safety held a virtual preliminary budget hearing with input from the NYPD and the city's 5 district attorneys, community activists once again called on City Council to cut the NYPD's budget and bring the community into the conversation.
The folks being directly impacted by these policies are not at the table helping make those decisions.
Multiple activist organizations want more money used to help prevent crime. And
What
What
does that
say you?
mean? What does that
What?
mean?
And that's what I mean. X is, okay. This is just my assumption, but I think these people recognize that there's going to be a massive increase in police budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very much so upset because when they were going through all of these Black Lives Matter rallies and marches and blah, 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 the people that was on the other side of this was saying, oh yeah, we're on your side. Look, we even put funds together to get some of you guys out of jail. And there needs to be more chaos in the streets and blah, blah, blah. And now they're in and they're saying, 32 billion that needs to go to fund police.
Mm-hmm.
And they see the handwriting on the wall.
Well, you said in your video that I watched that this is like this is an extension of that. You said a crime bill cometh. And I think if things continue to go the way they're going, that's the next step. The next step is all those mayors at the White House. That's the next step, right? All the mayors of these major cities at the White House talking with Biden, talking about this damn crime bill that Biden gonna push through. Probably one similar to the one he pushed through in 94. But just with a few more nuances. Just with a few more you Negroes locked up when you do stupid shit. But go ahead.
Now, one of the problems that I see in all of this, that it could go in two different ways. I don't know. I'm interested to see how it goes. But the progressive prosecutor who is trying to push these ideas of, oh, we gotta understand the criminal. We need more rehabilitation and all of that stuff. I'm like, okay. Well, with a heavily funded police department that's busting heads and doing all whatever it is they need to do, and if you continue just to let people out, then that's gonna make you look very bad before your constituency. The constituency is gonna see that you're the problem. Because when they start talking to the police, and the police will be like, "Oh man, man, the police everywhere, but the crime ain't going down. Why is it? Because these dudes getting let right back out. Why? Oh well, the prosecutor, DA, and to me, it seems like it seems like the bigger issue between the moderate and the more left leaning Democrats, like take for instance like AOC and all of them, they seem to be more radical in their views about how to get things accomplished, and it seems like there is this pulling apart of the two. And I'm interested to see how that was going to work out, man, because I think that internal battle is not good in the long run. But hey, we'll see it. Another idea that was pushed before me was that, well, they'll try to do it differently with policing and all of this money, that they will try to create. You remember the old mental institutions?
Mm-hmm.
And all those places, that they may try to go that route with it. Oh, we need to build you know, rehabilitation places and mental institutes, and it's like, okay, places where you holding people and you drugging them up and messing with their minds.
Well, you got to admit though, Brother Supreme, some of these people do belong in an institution. I mean, some of these people do need to be institutionalized.
Right. And then you're gonna have another issue because now you're gonna have people talking about, man, Ray Ray wasn't like that when he went in, and I don't know what they did to him, but now he barely functioning. They experimenting on these people in there, and it's like Tuskegee.
well, at least he's not committing crimes anymore. Now he's just standing on the overpass talking to the wind with no shoes on.
But yeah, I mean, I'm interested, man. If you want to, I'll go ahead. I'm ready to, if people want to open it up and they got, disputes or some type of other ideas. I love to hear it.
Yeah, come on through. Y'all know what the email is. Y'all see it on the screen. It's propertothought@yahoo.com. That's propertothought, one word, no caps, @yahoo.com. Nick Rose, come on up here and say what you gotta say. Maybe you're a former criminal, or maybe you're in prison right now and you're on your burner phone. Go ahead and hit the email, and I'll send you the link, and just be really, really quiet, so the COs don't hear you, talking, on YouTube. But I'm gonna put this report in the chat so y'all can look at it for yourself. But I'm just gonna read a few paragraphs of it. I'm not gonna kill y'all, with the information. But this is from the Council on Criminal Justice. It's councilonjustice.org. Go ahead and check it out. It says homicides continue to increase in major U.S. cities in 2021, but at a slower pace. All right. Now, this report was released this year, 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time, January 26, 2022. So it's not that old, And oh yeah, I forgot to put my disclaimer out when I put these things up. This is the white man's data. I repeat, this is the white man's data. Yeah, gotta put my disclaimer out there. Take it with a million grains of salt. Take it with a salt mine. Where the salt is still gray. And they chopping it off the walls. Take it with a salt mine. But it says here, Washington, D.C. homicide counts in major American cities continue to climb in 2021. Let me blow this shit up because this shit little as hell. It said homicide counts in major American cities continue to climb in 2021, but the pace of the increase slowed according to a new analysis of the crime trends released today by the Council on Criminal Justice Violence Crime Working Group. Drawing on crime data from a sampling of 22 cities, the study found that the number of murders in 2021 was 5% higher than counts recorded in 2020, representing 218 additional murders in those cities and 44% greater than in 2019, representing 1,298 additional lives lost. 16 of the 22 cities reported a rise in homicide last year, ranging from increases of 108% in St. Petersburg to less than 1% in Memphis and Baltimore, while 6, including Seattle and Omaha, saw a decline. Murder has declined substantially in the U.S. since the early 1990s, although increases occurred in 2005 and 2006 and again in 2015 and 2016. In 2021, the homicide rate for cities studied was about half of what it was for those cities 29 years ago. 15 deaths per 100,000 residents in those cities versus 28 per 100,000 in 1993. Still, the study authors called on leaders to redouble their anti-violence efforts in part by adopting a roadmap of actions produced earlier this month by the Council's Violent Crime Working Group. While it is encouraging to see a slowdown in recent homicides increase, the bloodshed continues in at least 10 U.S. cities lost historic numbers of residents to murder last year, said Council Senior Fellow Thomas App, a chair at the working group and author of Bleeding Out, the devastating consequences of urban violence and a bold new plan for peace in the streets. Good luck. This is not acceptable. We know there are multiple strategies with a track record of success in reducing violence. We need to break through our divisive politics and put these evidence-backed solutions in place now. The elevated rates of homicide and serious assaults require an urgent response from elected leaders, said the study's co-author, University of Missouri St. Louis professor emeritus Richard Rosenfeld. A year ago, we concluded our 2020 crime report by noting that with so many lives at stake, the time to act is now. The message is as vital today as it was then.
I'm seeing some comments in the chat, and son, if you are available, I would like to hear from you, because I think on this subject, I disagree a lot. A lot. Particularly, there was and maybe I'm misreading it, but she says, I'm not sure what rehab entails, but they should still be institutionalized while getting the therapy needed to get the tools to be productive. And I don't know, I think for some crimes,
there is no rehab.
Yeah,
for some crimes, there is no rehab. I just don't. I just don't believe it. I mean, especially when you talk about, like, I definitely don't believe child molesters can be fixed. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. They cannot be fixed. These people have something wrong with them mentally.
There used to be this statement when people say, oh, okay, I repaid my debt to society, right? What is your debt to society after wantonly murdering people?
Yeah.
How do you repay that?
The only way to repay that is to kill yourself.
Like those 4 kids that did that horrible crime to that 73-year-old woman. What could they ever do to repay the debt to society?
Nothing. There is no repaying that debt. It's not like when you steal, say you steal $500, right? You can literally pay that back, right? You can pay that back. You do the crime, you have to pay restitution, whatever the amount of money is. You could pay that back. You take somebody's life, there is no paying it back. There is no and I know we have laws on the books that, all people that get killed aren't considered murder. All people that die aren't considered murdered, right? Because you got first degree murder, second degree murder, you got manslaughter, you got involuntary homicide. There's a whole litany of things that they can charge you with that may not be murdered. Now you're just as dead as if they charge you with first degree murder or charge you with involuntary homicide. You're still just as dead. But I think crime has a lot to do with intent, right? It has a lot to do with intent, what your intentions were. All right. I think that's where crime lies, especially when it comes to charging you. All right. If I shoot you in the head, they're going to charge me with first degree murder, second degree murder. But if I shoot you in your leg and you happen to bleed out, that's not going to be a murder charge. That's going to be manslaughter. That's going to be, it all depends on the circumstances, right? And usually the mitigating circumstances, especially when you're talking about killing people and all that kind of stuff. Just because you got shot.
The circumstances mean a lot, because even in the leg thing, it could be like, oh, okay, Yeah, I shot him in both of his legs, and then I stood over him and watched him bleed out. Yeah, that's murder.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, now that's murder. Yeah, that's murder. But if you're shooting at him and you hit him in the leg and you hit a carotid artery, he bleeds out, they can't really prove that you intended on killing him. He just happened to die. So that wouldn't be considered first degree murder. It would be considered, manslaughter or, something else, right? Because they base it on the circumstances and what they're perceived and what they perceive your intent was has a lot to do with how they charge you most of the time, I believe.
But yeah, it's an interesting conversation when it gets to all of that. But overall, I find it really odd that we've seen a lot of these conversations come up when there was a white person killing some black person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Streams would go on for days. It was almost as if Will had slapped Chris Rock all over. For days. I mean, weeks on end, grudges were held. I can't believe you feel this white nigga. You just like them white folks, but they got you food. You go get your nigga moment. All hollering and cussing and busting and going on. Okay. We didn't watch for close to 2 years. A lot of Negroes tearing stuff up, killing. If a lot of these crimes that were being committed, there would be people marching and stuff. If it was white people doing it, they'll be like, "See there, look at all this racism. They trying to kill us."
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because I think
all you hear now is silence.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of crime is acceptable, right? I mean, especially when you're talking about if you go down into the rungs of the inner cities, right? There's this whole no snitching rule and you can't tell nobody. So, it's in-house business, right? Sort of like when, you got this creep molesting these kids. It's an in-house secret. We can't say anything, right? So it's been accepted because see, to be honest with you, a lot of the shit that goes on, man, especially in these inner city neighborhoods, the people in the neighborhood could probably stop this shit if they wanted to. Because you could probably run most of these fucking people out of there, man, that are doing this shit. You can stop them. You could run them out of there.
But that's the thing, though. I don't think that the neighborhoods could stop them if they wanted to now, because they're too invested in it.
Yeah, if you're connected to these fucking people, yes. If you're an old mama and then it's one of your sons or two of your sons out there robbing and stealing and selling crack, of course, you're connected to the crime. I mean, you're connected to the crime if you somebody that sit at your window and watch somebody murder somebody on the street and you don't say anything. You just close your blinds. You're connected to that crime. You saw it. You know who did it. You watched this person be killed. You watched this person be killed. So you are now part of it. You are connected to it now. Because a lot of the shit that goes on in these neighborhoods, man, a lot of this shit is enabled by people in the neighborhood. It's enabled, man. All right?
Yeah,
it's enabled. Because let me tell you something. You think a person can come in front of my fucking house right now and start selling dope in front of my house? You think one of these fools could park their car in front of my house, play loud music, open their trunk, and sell guns out of the trunk of their car in front of my goddamn house, or in front of my neighbor's house, or in front of my other neighbor's house. You think they could do that shit? No. No. Because soon as we heard that shit, all of us be standing out there with our 50s, like, what's going on here, niggas? Do we have a problem here, niggas? And you know me, I'm quick with my shit. Well, I'm out there quick. All right. Flashlight in your face, like you in front of my house. Why, motherfucker? You're in front of my shit. Why? Exactly.
Yeah. I just don't get it, X, where you try to have decent conversations with people, and I understand that people are going to have certain loyalties to tribe and skin color and all this stuff. It's like, okay. You told me about this a billion times. How can you explain to me when numbers are put in front of you of 83% of the shooting victims in Philadelphia are black?
It's an American problem.
That's not an American problem.
American problem. It's an American problem. But we've been joined by Lady Sunkissed. What's good, Lady Sunkissed? What you got for us?
I'm pretty good. How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yep. Are you coming up to shed some light on
I was coming up to answer whatever inquiry SKC had about what I was saying.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I got a story. When I was an adult trying to get into the workforce, I went to criminal justice. I was trying to be like a corrections officer because the things I learned in school, and they go to the prisons and they're there to be rehabilitated and all of these things. So like they get you in there and they give you a tour of the cells and all of this type of stuff, and then they give you this panel interview, and they're like, "What would you do if one of the inmates got out of their cell?" And I was like, "I would just tell them to go back in their cell." And she's like, "Oh, okay. And what if they tried to have a conversation with you?" I was like, "I'd have a conversation with." No. Whoa, wait a minute. No. You put them back in that cage and you tell them not to say anything. You don't talk to them. You slam them. I was like, what the hell? I thought y'all was trying to rehabilitate these people. Oh no, we don't rehabilitate. Okay, we don't do that. We put them in the cage and we leave them in there. Oh. Oh, okay. So I had a totally different idea about what this was. And I apologize because I thought they got rehabilitation in here. I thought that was the point of so they go in, they're a savage when they come in. They're savages while they're in here. And then y'all release them back out into the world as even more savage. Because they're going to do savage. Well, as long as they in the cage, they can do whatever they want to do. Okay. That doesn't make sense to me. You put them back out with no rehabilitation. What is going to make them or what's going to develop in them to make them want to be a productive citizen of society if they not be, because clearly, they didn't get the programming growing up, so why keep them in the cage to teach them how to be an even more efficient criminal and not rehabilitate them? We got to deal with that. Don't put that back out here with us. Why?
Well, aren't you talking about social work now? You're not really talking about corrections, right? Because if someone's in a penitentiary or a quote unquote correctional facility, they're not really there to be corrected. What they're there for is to serve whatever time the judge done laid down on them, or whatever time they pled to, or whatever deal they've made with the district attorney. They're there for that. They're not there for counseling. They're not there for structural advisement. they could care less if you do any of that. You got 5 years. They're gonna let you sit your ass in there for 5 years and let you out. I don't think that social work. I don't think that social work is necessary inside a correctional facility, because the real correctional facility is inside your fucking head. When you go in there, if you have the same mind frame coming out, that's more on you than it is the state, than it is the penitentiary, than it is the people who work in there. Because guess what? It's ultimately your life. So if you're walking in there with one mind frame and you walk out and your mind frame is the same or worse, that's on you. That's not on the penitentiary, I don't believe.
But
Go ahead.
if the government and whatever is there to protect the citizens and its people, then it is on them, because it's their life, but that's my life. That's that child's life. That's that man's life. That's that woman's life that they went in there and served their time and they came back out and they did the same thing. So why not give them the social work and try to see if they can change? At least that way, if you can see that they're not going to change, maybe you can say, you know what, they need some more time or something. You know, I don't agree with putting these people in there. I have an uncle. I have seen my uncle maybe I can count on both hands how many times I've seen my uncle. My uncle's been in the pen most of my life. And one time when he came out and he was kind of lucid in mind, he would talk about some of the stuff that he would experience in there. They do all kind of criminal activities behind those prison walls.
And then, you mean to tell me people who commit crimes on the street don't go into the penitentiary and become straight shooters and live legal?
No, they in there selling each other drugs, still doing criminal shit inside of the jail cell, which is weird. I'm like, how y'all even getting access? And he's telling me how they getting access to all these different things. It's crazy. And then you take that, you know, they have committed the most heinous crime. And let's say they get life. Life is about 40 years. So if you do this in your 40s, in your 20s, and you got 40 years, you still viable and able-bodied when you get out to come back and still wreak havoc upon the rest of society. I don't think that's fair to society. I don't care that you went in there and you got roasted and maybe you got your booty toe up and all of it. I don't care about none of that. What are they doing to try to rearrange you so I don't got to worry about you when you come up out of there?
Yeah, well, you're going to have to worry about this person because this person committed the crime in the first place. It's not like they just walked to his house one day and said, "Come on, let's go to prison." He had to have done something to get there. So if you commit this crime and now you're in the goddamn pen, you're mainly the reason why you're there. It's your fault that you're there. It's not like, yeah, you put yourself there. So now that you're there, I don't think the onus should be on the state or the county or the federal government, whoever has have you in custody. I don't think it should be on them. The onus should be on them for you to get rehabilitated. I think the onus should be on you. You should be seeking out those programs. You should be seeking out whatever counseling or whatever the hell they got in there. That's on you, because you have to change your mind. I don't think no one can change your mind for you. You need to seek out that change for yourself. And like I said, you put your own black ass self there. So guess what? It's on you to do these things that's gonna, change you and hopefully you get out and don't start robbing and stealing and killing no more, and try to make a decent living for yourself and stay crime free. That shit is on you, just like a drug addict or an alcoholic. The biggest hurdle to hop is realizing you have a problem, right?
What what is the percentage of people, just like snowballing it or spitballing it rather? What's the percentage of people that I would say serve at least 2 sentences? That means they go in, they go out, and then they go in for something else, and then they come out. What's the percentage of those people that actually become productive citizens?
Not many. I'm looking at the recidivism rates right now. They said the 3-year prison return rate, the most commonly used measure, fell from about 50% to 39%. This is an 11-point reduction, persisted through the full 5-year tracking period. That study was concluded in 2021. 39%. They say, according to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, California's recidivism rate has averaged around 50% over the past 10 years. What does that mean? That means half the motherfuckers who went in there, guess what? They're going back. They're going back. They're not
I mean,
done.
doesn't those numbers there say that there probably should be programs to actually help rehabilitate these people? That's a high number of people going back in. And I'm saying that because I feel like there is redemption for everybody if they want it. Not everybody has the means to go inside and pull it up out of them. Some people need help. And if they're not getting it, and they say, some people come out and they say, okay, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to walk the straight and narrow. But you got this strike on your record, and you feel like, and you're always told, well, you paid your debt to society. But society is going to look down on you because you're going to forever be a criminal in the minds of the citizens, no matter how much of a debt that you pay. So you're trying to do the right thing, and society is just labeled you as the outcast, and you can't do the right thing. And nobody's told you how to handle that type of rejection. So you're going to go back to doing what you normally do. I think that there should be some help for these people to deal with that so they don't go. That's a high number of people going back to the pen.
Okay, now, some of that quote unquote help, I think, has to do with not having a family structure.
Oh, I don't disagree with that.
Yes.
And I don't think that a society or a criminal justice system or a rehabilitation system can give a person a family.
But do you think a rehabilitation system can teach a person how important a family is and how they may have made better decisions if they had a family?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think we as society would judge people because they made the wrong thing. I don't know a perfect human. Never met one. But I don't think just because we view them as the lowest of the low that we shouldn't also have a responsibility to helping these people. I don't know why we as a society look at these people as if, oh no, they did that, throw them away, but we want to live in a safe society. You got young niggas running around shooting up the block every day. Chicago is horrible, okay? But no, we're not gonna rehabilitate anything. Lock them up in the cage. When they go do they 4 to 25 years, they'll get out to go pick up another gun and continue the foolishness. We look just as crazy as they do, saying throw them away when they gonna come out and terrorize us.
Okay, or else you could do something else.
Adult
which
supervision says best program is take them from their parents.
I mean,
See,
there
I have to
is
agree.
there is another option though, son.
What's that?
It's not okay. It is not. People don't like it.
Okay.
All right. How about just have stricter laws?
I don't think that's gonna help somebody that's wayward and degenerate and don't know no better.
Okay. So you said, you know what? I fear that these people that go in and they haven't learned anything, they actually became more proficient in their criminality. They're going to come out and terrorize such and such. Well, if you raise certain standards of laws, hey, you shot someone with a gun that was illegal. That's a death penalty, period. You broke two major laws. You had a deadly weapon in your possession that is unregistered, and then you used it. There is no time involved in any of that.
Now, if your solution is kill them all, I'm not gonna fight you on it. Just I pray, no regular person ever ends up in an unfortunate situation where they got to pay with their life. I don't have a problem with that. Don't be out here terrorizing society, But I don't think lock them up in the cage and treat them like animals and then release the wild animals back into population is a good idea. At all.
Do we start shooting people on the courthouse steps? Do we start shooting right there on the courthouse on the steps?
If the law,
I think some of that. I think some of it also goes into this. This would be another quote unquote solution, unpopular as it may be, but a solution. This idea of like the juvenile courts, and so
shoot them too.
No, scratch the whole thing. Scratch the entire thing. What it comes down to is, okay, there's a juvenile that's on the loose that did this and such and such and such and such. Okay, whatever crime that it is, you and your parents do the time. Yeah. And your parents do the time.
Everybody locked up. God damn it.
Well,
you and your parent pay the fine.
Right. I mean, I don't necessarily have an issue with it because, like, some of these children be doing things that their parents should have stopped, and like that Rittenhouse boy. Like, I'm not upset that he walked away because there was self-defense. But at the same time, what is your underage ass doing out here with a gun? No, his parents should have been on trial right along with him. Because why? Or his mother or whatever, because I don't think he had no daddy. But yeah, she should have been up there on trial too, because a lot of times these children be out here running wild because they have no parental supervision. And yeah, I don't agree that they should punish by themselves and the parents just walk away.
Because the first thing that the parents will do, like if it comes to like a school or anything else, they'll say, "Oh man, that's my child. You can't do that. That's my child." Okay, well, this was the crime. This was your child. This was your responsibility.
Well, right. I had an answer for this like a very, very long time ago.
Think about the parenting that would be involved in. No, boy, you get out there and you act crazy. I'll go ahead and get rid of you right here. I ain't going to jail for you.
Here is the answer. And this answer is circa, I believe, 2015, 2016. I had the answer, but no one wanted it. No one wanted to hear this answer that I had for these Negroes. No one wanted to hear it.
Things that they already should know. But what I am going to do is this. I'm going to talk about Nigger Island. And Nigger Island doesn't exist, but it should exist. Okay? Because when we think about these niggas, now mind you, not all niggas are black, okay? Not all of them. But see, we have the market on them because there's white niggas, there's Hispanic niggas, there's Asian niggas. Shoot, there's probably even Middle Eastern niggas. I don't even know, okay? But unfortunately for us as black people, we have more niggas than anybody else. That's all it is to it, okay? So let's just start there. But when I talk about nigga island, when I say nigga island, what I mean is somewhere where we need to round up all these niggas. The niggas who cause chaos, confusion, killing, pandemonium, nonsense, and everything else that's involved with that. We need to take all of them, put them on a plane, and fly them over there and drop them the hell off. And I mean drop them off. I don't mean just land the plane on a runway. No, I mean get the plane about 4 feet off the ground and just kick their asses out. Okay?
See, that was my solution many years ago.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
That
but I'm on the
was
same
my
wavelength.
solution.
I'm on
Right?
the same wavelength with you. Like when I be making my content talking about the nigga shit, I was like, I wish they just get all of y'all and put y'all on the island and let y'all fuck each other off. Cause leave us alone, okay? Leave the
Yes.
normal citizens alone. We
Nigga
got enough.
Island is the answer.
Yeah,
It's
nigga
the
island is
answer,
what's up.
folks. It's the answer. If you wanna know more about Nigga Island, go ahead and check it out here at this here link. You
Not a
can
link.
get more in depth about what old X's idea of Nigga Island was back in I think that's 2015 or 2016. Yeah, I think it's 2016. So go ahead and check it out and see if you agree with me about Nigga Island. And it's crazy that YouTube let me keep this up too. Because they had fought me on it, right? And I appealed it. And I fucking won. And it's still up. Nigga Island. Yes, sir, boy.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, son, I just don't think that rehabilitation works very well. And I also don't think that a lot of the people deserve this idea of rehabilitation. I mean, what I don't think that people recognize is that by doing so, you're pouring a lot of time, money, and resources into people who made the worst decisions.
Mm-hmm. There's a
But
cost.
I mean, either extreme is cool for me because I don't have a problem with offering folks that's out here interrupting society. Like, hey, if that's what has to happen, that's what has to happen. I don't have a issue seeing it go through and how it affects society or any of that. I do know we haven't seen what happens if we actively try to rehabilitate these folks, which is why when, defund the police was a hot topic, I was in favor of it because why keep sending people out here with violence to lock folks in cages and not speak to them? I've gotten through, I remember I met this young guy. He was like, I think Juice was like 18 years old and he hadn't graduated high school. He was running the streets. He was gang banging. I talked to Juice every day, all summer long. And then I had to move away. Juice hit me up on social media about 4 years later. Juice had gotten his GED. Juice was a supervisor at some kind of distribution company or something like that. He had gotten his life together and he told me, he said, I appreciate every conversation you had with me and you staying on my ass because eventually everything you said to me got in my mind and I started doing the right thing and my life is a lot better because of it. Thank you. There's a lot to be said for rehabilitation because sometimes people don't have anybody to listen to. Sometimes they don't have anybody to give them that other perspective. If you don't have any positive role models in your life and you got a bunch of niggas out here just telling you this is the nigga shit and this is the way to go, then you never had a chance, you know. And
Okay. And I have a thought about that because I've heard that story before on a lot of occasions. I've heard it before.
He didn't have anyone.
I'm not saying
And I
he didn't have
get
anyone. He was
and I
saying,
get all of that. And I get all of that. But here's one side of the story that I never hear talked about. I'm not saying in the instance of the guy that you're talking about.
Right.
But I have seen in other cases where, yeah, there has been a person who has, quote unquote, turned their life around and done this and that and such and such. But did they ever truly make up for all of the havoc that they caused? Why is it that you have such people who were able for years upon years to wreak havoc, to damage other people's lives, sometimes irreparably? And then it's a thing of, oh, well, I turned my life around. So you tore a lot of lives up too.
And they have to live with that. You think that's an easy burden?
No, that ain't that to me. That ain't no answer, man. I have to live with it. So, man, it's like, come on, that's a
I don't know.
non-answer.
I can only speak for myself, and I'm not a criminal, but I've done some things in my life that's sometimes hard to live down. I couldn't imagine taking somebody's life and for no reason, and have to live with it for the rest of my life, especially if I turn my life around to the point where I have my own family and I know karma coming to get my ass soon, that I got to live with it, you know. And I know for the person in the families that maybe had experienced some irreparable damage, that don't mean shit to them. But on a personal level, as a human being, I don't want to be in that person's position. I don't think that they living a good life, because when they lay down at night, some nights they can't sleep. Sometimes they might not be able to sleep for months on end because they still got to deal with what they did, and can't nobody help them out of that because that's what they did. They have to live with it. Sometimes living with the choices that you make is the worst hell you could ever be in. You know, and I know that don't sound good for somebody that's been hurt. I want revenge. I want them to feel pain. I can't never get back. I get it. But I don't want to be in their shoes either. You know? I don't.
Lady Sunkiss.
For Pablo, you know, you gotta
Yeah.
email.
Send me an email, brother Pablo, and I'll send you the link, man. I'll say this, Lady Sunkiss. I've been a power mechanic, a mechanical engineer. I mean, I've been working on machinery ever since I was a kid. I've been doing it professionally for about 31, 32 years now. And one thing I know better than anything else is that some things are totally irreparable, that even a 30-year seasoned master mechanic cannot fix. Some things are irreparable, depending on what they've been through, depending on the circumstances, depending on use, depending on punishment, depending on lack of maintenance. All those things will make a piece of machinery irreparable. And I believe people are similar to that. Some people are irreparable. There is no fixing them. The fix is a brain transplant. And no one's going to do that. That is the fix. A brain transplant. Just like with some pieces of machinery that are in my garage. They can be fixed, but the fix is a total new engine, a total new transmission. That's the fix. That's the fix.
I don't disagree with you. I feel like that's what capital punishment is for. I feel like if you rehabilitating and you as the professional looking at this person like this person not going nowhere, then I say kill them. You know, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, how do you know that you're not getting rid of somebody that could actually be a help to society versus somebody that's just reprobate?
No, I'm see me, I'm not saying kill them unless they, did something worthy of killing.
Oh, I
But
say kill them. Like,
yeah, I
kill 'em.
mean, I don't necessarily want them killed.
Come
I
on,
just want
dog.
I just want these people away from people who don't live the life they live. Um, killing them, I guess it may be necessary in some cases, but if you got a guy who ever since he was 17 years old, he's been in and out of prison. Now he's 40. All right. Only one or two things are going to happen to a person like this. They're either going to grow up, figure it out, and try to do something with what's left of their life, or they're just going to continue to do the shit they've been doing ever since they were 16. There's nothing in between that. All right. There's nothing in between those two extremes. This person's either going to say, okay, I'm 40 now. I need to get my shit together. I need to get me a job. I need to get me a house. I need to get me a car. I need to get my life together. I may need to get an education. Whatever the case may be, it's either going to be that or it's going to be him continuing to do what he's always done and right back into the fucking penitentiary. There is no middle there. There's no middle. There's
So it's
only two
like,
extremes.
is the penitentiary like a small version of Nigga Island?
Maybe, because
Okay.
there's probably a few people in the penitentiary who don't belong there. There's a small handful of people who, maybe was framed or got overcharged or got charged with a crime that they didn't commit. But that's a very small number of people. People would like you to think that everybody in prison is innocent, which
Oh,
is
no
stupid.
hell.
Which is stupid. All right. Most of the people that are there, they fucking
Deserve to
belong
be
there.
there.
Yeah, let's be
Yeah.
honest. Okay. The overwhelming majority belong there.
All
But
facts.
you do have this small, minute, okay, this small, minute faction of people who may not necessarily belong there. And some of those people are people who have mental issues. People who are just insane, they probably don't belong in prison. They probably
Right.
belong in some type of insane
Asylum.
asylum. They probably belong there. So there are people there that truly don't belong there. But that's a minority of the people that are in prison. All right. The overwhelming majority of people that are in prison, they fucking belong there. All right.
Right.
They're not there by accident. A helicopter didn't come through one day, pick up all these people and just drop them into prison. No, they did something to get there. The majority of them did. All right. Whatever that something may be. Now, when those people come out, depending on what their mind frame is when they walk out, that's going to dictate what their life is going to be, man. If they walk out and want to get their hands on another kilo, it's just a matter of time before they're heading right back in there. Now you can say, well, all doors are closed to brothers who come out of jail, except that prison door. They can always go back in there. And there's some truth to that. But if you're a person who, like I said before, if you still have that criminal mind when you walk out, it's not like you're going to walk out and try to get your life together. You're going to walk right out, try to get your hands on another gun, try to get your hands on another kilo, try to do something else criminal. You have to stop thinking like a criminal, all right, to become not a criminal. I mean, if you think like a goddamn criminal, it's just a matter of time before you do some criminal shit, right? Unless you fight that inner battle with your mind. And let's be honest here. A lot of people that find themselves, it depends on what they're in there for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if a person is in jail for stealing cars, right? I think he probably has more chance of being straightened out than a person who's in there for molesting children, right?
Mhm.
Because there's
Yeah.
different degrees of criminality. There's different kind of crimes, right? So
Right.
you take somebody who fucks with kids and shit. I just don't believe that person can be straightened out. That motherfucker need to be strung up somewhere and shot. But if it's somebody who steals cars, or they steal the shit out of yards and shit like
A
that,
petty thief.
yes, I mean, you got petty thief, and then you got full on felons. So
Yeah.
we have to ask ourselves, what are we talking about far as crime, and what are we talking about far as rehabilitation for said crimes? But
Right.
we have been joined by my Chi-Town brother Perfect Black is in the house, and brother Pablo Frescobar is here,
What's good?
which is a first, I believe, man.
Oh,
Appreciate
wow.
you coming through, brother. Appreciate that. What
I
y'all got on this?
Hey, I
man?
listened many times to your channel, but this is my first time, as a guest. I think I have something to offer. I was a criminal justice major in college. I was a probation and parole officer for the Virginia Department of Corrections for 7 years. I was a deputy sheriff here in a suburb of Atlanta for 3 years. So yeah. Let me share this. Recidivism is the word used to describe those who reoffend, who have been convicted of some crime, and then within a certain amount of time period, I think they use a 9-year period, some use a 7-year period, they reoffend, they commit a new crime or a new felony, right? So it varies by offense as well. Property crimes have the highest recidivism rate. So your parents or any old timers ever tell you once a thief, always a thief, or you can never trust a thief once they steal from you? Well, there's truth to that. I think they have somewhere's over an 80% recidivism rate for people who like to, steal things and have sticky fingers, because it's a certain entitlement that goes with it. So sometimes it might not matter whether or not they are impoverished, right? It's an issue of, they don't have that moral compass, so to speak, that just says, well, I can't just take what belongs to someone else. So it's not always based on the circumstance of someone's economics, although it leans more, towards those who are impoverished. But sometimes they may steal something, and not because they lack it, but because they want to get it for free.
I like it, and I want it.
Exactly. And then you do have variations by race of recidivism. If you would like to see that, I would offer to share it. Share those that
Please
research.
share, sir. Please share.
SKC, did you just do a Fleece Johnson impression?
Please share.
I have to head out, but I'm gonna listen. One thing I'll add before Pablo goes in further is I think one of the other things that comes up in this conversation that I've heard a lot, where people will say, well, America is one of the countries that have all these people that are in prison and at such high percentage than all these other places. Well, I think a lot of that has to do with people having more choices and more freedom. And with that freedom, some people choose to follow a more criminally minded lifestyle. It is what it is. But like I said, I'll listen in and see what you guys got to offer. And but I gotta take care of a few things here with the family. But thank you, X, for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Anytime, man. You already know, my brother.
So
All right,
this is
Pablo.
offered up. Okay, man, take it easy. This is
What we
offered up by
got
the
here,
state.
brother Pablo?
This is a table by the state of Washington. Now, if you take a look, you can see ethnicity and percentage of population. This is the state of Washington. So the state of Washington doesn't has predominantly white, overwhelmingly white population. African Americans only at 2.6%, right, of the population. And then you have the total number of those convicted and the percentage sentenced. 13.9% were sentenced to some form of incarceration for their crimes. And of that 13.9, 75.5% reoffended. And by race and gender, you can see on the bottom table, 75% of those African Americans who were convicted and sentenced to some form of incarceration reoffended. And 63% of those were women, and 75% were men. Well, excuse me, the women were recidivists at a rate of 63%. So of all the women convicted, 63 convicted and sentenced to time, 63% reoffended. And of all the men convicted, 75%. Now, I'm going to kind of look and see what this might be on a national scale. Let's see. I'm going to do recidivism rates by race, gender.
Well, I was reading something earlier before we came on, and that report said that that the recidivism was highest among males, blacks, and young adults. They said within like 5 years of their release, 82% of property offenders were rearrested for a new crime compared to I think 75% of drug offenders and 75% of public order offenders, and I think 70% of other violent offenders. And according to that same report, they were saying that the United States has one of the most highest recidivism rates there is. 75%, like you said, 75% of prisoners are rearrested within 5 years. So,
yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah,
but
so
why though? Why? I mean, why is it that a person can be locked up and within 5 years they right back locked up? I mean, I'm pretty sure when you were working in you're a law enforcement guy, you probably seen a couple guys that you see come through the system, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. I mean, what makes a person want to continue to just do the same old stuff?
well, it becomes a cycle, right? So once you get convicted of a felony, your employment opportunities shrink drastically. And depending on the type of crime that you've done, the more stigma will be attached to your placement in the workforce. Let's say it's probably better to have a drug possession case than it is to have a property crime case. Why? Because that employer, let's say a lot of the service area businesses, people are around money, tools, equipment, things of value, right? And so it would not be unusual, even for a job like being on a landscaping crew, for an employer to be wary of little Daquan, stealing his power equipment and pawning it, stealing a vehicle. I knew a guy I grew up with. I guess you could say he meant well. He didn't have a ride to go see his parole officer, and he was working for a construction company, so he borrowed, i.e. stole, the company dump truck to go and see his probation officer. What was he originally convicted of? Grand theft auto. Wow. He was a car thief. He's, like, for chop shops, Fast and the Furious, that's what he did. He stole cars for a living and gave them to these people that, chop them up for parts or put them in containers and ship them overseas to Africa. That's what he did. And so when he was in a bind, what did he do? He went back to what he knew. Well, I know how I can get transportation to go see my probation officer. When they rolled up on him, he was up there in the office and the truck was down in the parking lot. Wow. So the long story short is it becomes a lifestyle. Just like Perfect Blackness has a fitness regimen of a lifestyle of working out. Some people have a lifestyle that is conducive to criminal activity. Their friends, the places that they frequent, the substances that they use, it all has a tie-in to a culture of the underworld, so to speak. And so once you get in it, okay, it's hard for somebody that maybe held, $10,000 in cash for stealing a car or, selling drugs or whatever, to go and get a $10 an hour job at a fast food place. It takes a certain level of discipline that in their lives up to that point they have not had. Yeah. Trying to figure out, how am I going to get to work this morning? What bus am I going to take? Or, because I don't have a driver's license because I've been locked up for, 7 years and my license was suspended upon my conviction. So all of those things put them behind the 8 ball, and it's hard for them to get out of that hole. That's the short answer.
Yeah, I mean, because lady, and I want to get to damn, she dropped off, but I want to get to Perfect Black too. And Lady Sunkiss had alluded to this. She said that, these people, they get locked up, and then when they get out, they can't do this, they can't do that. They should have some counseling, some rehabilitation. They should have all this stuff, right? And I'm with her to a point, but I think that ultimately the onus is on you, right? You did the crime, your ass got locked up, you did whatever you did, you went in there, you did your time, and now it's time to change your mind. If you want to get right and try to do something, it's on you. It ain't on the state, it ain't on society, it ain't on the courts, it ain't on nobody else. It's on you, right? You
I
put
agree.
yourself there, right? So, like I said earlier, the correctional facility isn't that brick and mortar building they put you in. The correctional facility needs to be in your damn mind. That's the correctional facility, right? But you got to say, well, I don't want to do this anymore. You're not thinking that way if you walk out and 6 months later you back locked up. I mean, because obviously you were locked up, so you know there is a possibility of you being locked up. So you haven't made it up in your mind that you don't want to be locked up. You haven't, because you wouldn't be doing the shit that you're doing to get locked up a second time, a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time. I mean, Brother Supreme, we were talking about this carjacking that they did, and they killed this 70-something-year-old woman. They said the kid, he was 17. He had already been arrested 25 fucking times.
Wow.
17 years old. He's been arrested 25 fucking times. Like, where's this 17-year-old kid finding all this time to fucking be arrested? Well, I mean, where's he finding the time to be arrested?
Those are the 12 and 13-year-old kids you see out walking the street at 11 and 12 o'clock at night.
Yep.
During a school night. Those are the ones. Hey, look, let me tell you a story. Then this might enlighten you as to the why of it all. So, like I said, I was a probation parole officer, and one day this probationer, he came in. Oh, he was a parolee, and he came in, and they have to show us, their pay stubs from, securing employment. A condition of parole is that you maintain employment. So he, I believe he had a job at like a fast food restaurant, but he came up with some excuse as to why he quit, and then he was looking for something else, and he was just giving the whole, soft shoe excuses. And I was getting on him about it, and he said, "Yeah, but I want a job like you. I want to sit behind the desk with a shirt and tie." And I said, "Well, yes." I said, "But you didn't see the things I was doing before I got to sit behind this desk with the shirt and tie. You didn't see me as a dishwasher at the steakhouse, coming home smelling like rotten food. You didn't see me at the car wash when it's 102 degrees on the blacktop, buffing, wiping down some 70-year-old guy lawyer's Jaguar. You didn't see me at the amusement park working on the roller coaster, sweeping up vomit with this chemical substance that dries it up and makes it a solid. He didn't see any of that. And so in his mind, I just appeared there, looking cool in a shirt and tie. That was his thought process, very much like, some of the ladies of the community who have unrealistic expectations. His expectation of how to get to success or to his goal were not grounded in reality.
Yeah. I think that's part of the problem, right? These people aren't realistic. They think they're going to make it to the promised land by stealing, robbing, selling illegal shit, taking shit from other people, robbing other people. And I think it's got a lot to do with desperation too, right? Um, I guess depending on what type of crimes you're committing. If you're committing robberies, that's some desperation shit, right? You want to go out there and you want to get money and you don't want to fucking work for it. Um, if you sell dope, you probably look at that at like some type of job, right? This is what you do. You get X amount of dope, you break it down and you sell it to other people. And then you have the crimes where people just ride around and they shoot at folks and they kill people and they do all this kind of bullshit. I don't think though that is a crime of desperation. That is a crime of just complete carelessness about people's lives, the respect for people's lives, the respect for your own life. I think all that stuff is kind of jumbled into it. And tonight we were talking about the cost of it, man. I mean, what is the cost to society when you have an abundance of people like this inside said society? What is the cost to us as a people? I mean, what is the cost to those neighborhoods where you got a dozen people dying every weekend? Because on a bigger picture, you're never going to get any big business coming in there. You're never going to get any real infrastructure coming in there. So that said community will suffer over the long term because who wants to open a business where 20 people just got shot last week? Who wants to build a factory in a fucking community where 500 people were murdered last year? I mean, so the cost isn't just the cost of life right then and there. It's the cost to the whole geographical location because things that could come in there and improve the neighborhood and give people jobs and put some more money into the community never make it there because of the shit that's happening in there.
Right. You can't
Why
do
would some
business. Yeah, you can't do
yeah,
business without security first. You have to have order and
exactly.
security. Yeah.
Exactly. So whatever potential money and business and infrastructure and capital that would possibly come into those particular areas never get there because they do the analysis of the area and they're like, man, like 500 people died. 500 people were murdered here last year. I'm not putting my shit there. I mean, so there's a dramatic cost, man. There's a big cost. And not only that, when you got areas where crime is constant, people are constantly getting shot and murdered and killed and all that kind of stuff, man, what is the cost to the children who have to live around that? The children who have to grow up in that. The children who go to sleep to gunshots. What is the cost to them? Because a lot of that stuff, all it does is produce more prototypes. It's not like in those areas, you got this giant uh 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 influx of people growing up to be doctors, lawyers, scientists, teachers, cops, electricians, plumbers, mechanics, carpenters. No, that's not what's coming out of these fucking places, man. Where all these people are getting shot and killed and that's not what's coming out of these places, man. All it's doing is producing more people like the people that the freaking kids have to watch every day. The kids that they have to walk by every day on their way to school. The people that they see hanging out in the park, shooting, stabbing, robbing, selling drugs. A lot of these children, they don't stand a freaking chance, man. Not only because of the freaking people they're being raised by, but the freaking environment, man, that they're being raised in. But we've been joined by my Chi-Town brother Perfect Black. What's good with it, man?
What's going on, Brother X? What's going on, Pablo, man? What's going on with you, man?
I put you in one of my videos, right, man? I put you in one of my videos last week, man. You made a cameo appearance, my brother.
Oh, I need to see that, man, because I didn't know that, bro. I didn't know that, man. I'm flattered.
Yeah, man. Go check it out, man. It's called goddamn, I forgot. You know my ass old. It's called hold on, let me look. I don't want to say the wrong damn thing.
And put the link in the back check there, because I'm gonna definitely go get a look at that.
Yeah, man, I had to put you in there, man, for some cameo shit I was explaining and shit, man. So
Absolutely.
I had to put my boy in there and shit. I put you in the credits too. So,
oh, good, man. Yeah, put that link in the back chat, man.
Oh, absolutely, man, absolutely.
But look,
go ahead, you got it.
No, go ahead, finish.
No, it's called The Secret is Out. Mama is Mortal. That's what it's called. Mama is Mortal. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put the link in the back. You go ahead and check. Huh?
I said, you a trip. Mama is money. You stay on mama, boy. Old mama.
Mama is
That's right. These
mortal.
old mamas, boy. That's
Now
right.
I'm not going to let up ever, brother Pablo. I'm never gonna let up. I'm never gonna let up. But yeah, go ahead. You got it, brother. Perfect Black.
Yeah, this and I have to admit and apologize that I came I came into the discussion pretty late. So forgive me if I kind of either repeat some things or ask some questions or state some things that somebody has already covered. But this is one of those issues with the criminal justice system and all this up in crime and all that within the Black community. Um, I think that number one. Well, let me say this, and I wish the other two was up here because I hate that term rehabilitation. I cannot. I hate that term with a passion. I can't stand it. I got a brother who's incarcerated, and he and I speak all the time. Whenever he has phone privileges, he calls. And this whole idea about rehabilitation is absolute is platitudes. It's a joke. And if rehabilitation actually took place, it would be financial suicide for the corporate prison industrial complex. It just would. But it also is something that's not really serious with the state either. I don't think really the state is really interested in rehabilitation for pretty much the same reasons. So I hold positions on pretty much on both extremes, right? Because I've never been one of the soft on crime type of deals, type of people or anything. But I'm also when you talking about because everything that's been spoken about on the panel here, at least from what I've been listening to, we're talking about problems that's happening nationally throughout the entire nation. This isn't just happening within this city, within here, it's the South Side Chicago or the West Side Chicago or anywhere. It's happening in every city, in every municipality, in every state of this country. So when you have problems like that that reach that far, um, solutions that are individually based are going to be insufficient. And this is where I think, and this is just my opinion, this is where I think the Black manosphere has a blind spot, so to speak, because I think it weds itself too much when it comes to stuff like this. And I think this is the reason why I think the Black manosphere is, for lack of a better term, deficient in answers, other than personal responsibility based solutions when it comes to this. Because again, I'm not a soft on crime type of guy. I believe that there are certain sectors in our community that you can't save, and putting an ankle monitor on just not going to help, regardless of how they got there, regardless of the circumstances surrounding their lifestyle or the upbringing and them getting there. However it is that they got there, they're there, and there's going to be a certain point that they're just not redeemable. And I hate to say that, and that's something else that people on a lot of the hoteppers that's a blind spot for them. That there are certain individuals in our community they are just not redeemable. Period. There aren't going to be enough classes and speaking to and all of that. They just didn't get enough of the enough of the upbringing for them to make better and proper decisions to be able to handle a lifestyle or a reality, an adult reality that's going to be geared against them. They have not been given the tools to be able to navigate and to circumvent those systemic traps that's built in for them. They just haven't been given those tools to deal with that, and they've gotten to a point in their life where they are just irredeemable. Period. They shouldn't be having children. They shouldn't be around anyone that's in the that's in the civilized society. They just shouldn't be. It's a shame. I hate to put it that way. I hate to say that, but there are many aspects of our community just irredeemable. Now, when we talk about solutions, we want to talk about why they got there, how it is that we can prevent them from getting there. it is based on what I see in my years of mentoring, not only black male children, but also young adults, that individualistic solution, based solutions are not going to help either, right? And this is nothing. This is no. There's no disrespect to you, Pablo, but from what I've seen in my experience, um, people who are involved in law enforcement, corrections and of the like, they are at least what is it? They are least equipped to come up with the best answers, because they are invariably a part of the very system that is not that does not have an interest.
Well, I agree with you. I actually agree with you, but here's the reason why. When I started after I graduated from college with a degree in criminal justice, there's a big difference between what I learned in theory and in books, and then when I got actually into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I began to realize that what was missing is most of the very things that is talked about in these spaces, in terms of the manosphere, the lack of male leadership in the homes. Most of these guys had no father in the home, like I did. Most of them were in severe poverty, or if they weren't, they had very little supervision, right? So I began to realize that there were no solutions, as has been said before. There were only trade-offs. Because how do you fix something that's such an integral part of human development that someone missed? Yes, you will be able to save some with programs and different kinds of interventions, but there's no way to have enough of it when the scale is so large. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I understand what you're saying. Maybe I should put it into engineering terms. And I know you, brother X. You are a mechanical engineer. Am I right?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, so you would understand structural engineering.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure some people may have heard an analogy like this that would be similar. So I look at it in terms of a house, right? When you're building a house, you have to first build that foundation, and then you start building everything on that's going to be built from that foundation on up. You build from the ground all the way up. Now, say the walls are immaculate, the landscaping is top notch, the roofing couldn't be better, but the foundation was made with substandard material, and as years go by, that house starts to deteriorate, particularly because of the foundation. And you can do a lot of tuck pointing and everything else, but still that foundation was initially made with substandard material. And so no matter how many silk draperies that you put into the house, no matter how many the expensive windows that you put in and all of that, it means nothing. That house just may fall down with all of that expensive everything else beside, because the foundation was just bad. Period. And that's what I mean when I say systemic. We're talking about we're talking about foundational problems of how this nation was built. Period. And everything else is built on top of it. So when we're talking about, well, why this is or why is that and why is this going on, you're essentially going back to structural problems of this. Now I know that that's an area that, again, of what I call that is a blind spot within the black manosphere, because because the black manosphere is really it's I would say mostly right wing. I'm not going to say Republican, but I would say more conservative. And on the conservative side, they don't want to hear anything. They don't accept a lot of arguments that's more systemic, that's more individualistic based. And that argument, individualism, or arguments that are solutions that are individualistic based, that has its applications. But when you're talking about problems that are national, when you're talking about problems that you can find in every city of the nation, where you can't apply an individualistic solution to a more larger problem that really go to the foundation of the nation. Period. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is, and we don't like to say it. We don't like to put it in those terms, because the implications of that. Because the implications of that is, oh, well, what do you do? So he's trying to say that there is no solution. I'm not saying there's really no solution. It's just that you have to really look at the problem for what it is first, and it's foundational first. So when you get to looking at, like, this story here is really near and dear to me, because brother, I do a lot of mentoring here, and one of the boys that I've been mentoring, that I've known since he was in the 7th grade, and he's like 16 now, and he's got shot in the head, and now he's living, he's alive, but he's likely going to lose sight in both his eyes. Dang. Now, this is the issue that he's one of the ones that's been really close to me. And then when they told me that, I damn near broke down in tears. This is the kid that I have discipline rights to. I was able to go to his school in any time of the day unannounced. And here in Chicago, that's a hard thing to do, to go to a school unannounced. I can go to his school unannounced just to see it, just to watch him in class and all that. But the chief battle that I had with him was not so much as with him, was with his mother, and in particular his grandmother. And he was constantly being emasculated. And this is something that they really couldn't understand. And the more I talked to them, the more I tried to reach out to them on that wise, the more that they would be resisting me in that. And that was because of the way the family court system is. Now, granted, his father really wasn't the type of, it really is really not a good father. It's just not. But they didn't want to do a lot of other things that will help him. And he started to push away the older that he got, which is pretty much understandable, because the older that he get, the more aggressive he gets, the more he wants to be a man. And no one there's going to be is there in the home to kind of mitigate and shape that. He starts to run with the wrong crowd.
And see, perfect blackness. Perfect blackness. That is the essence of the black manosphere's position, is that the government cannot fix your lack of a decent parent.
But see, they can't. Okay, and you're right about that. You're right about that, Pablo. And well, no, I'm not going to say that they can't fix it. I will say that they won't. They don't have an interest in fixing it, and they really don't care to fix it. And the reason, and that kind of go, and the reason why I was bringing that situation up, and your response to it is kind of is indicative of what I was saying. What I say, that the black manosphere, this is a blind spot with the black manosphere, because you on the surface you're right. When you really start to really look deep off into this and look into this, you're right, but you're not right, because the government really can, but they kind of choose not to. Why do they choose not to? Because
but is that their role though?
Why isn't it their role? We're talking about an entity in which, even within this very same community, who we pay taxes to. So why isn't it their role? Is their role?
Their role is to provide. Their role is to provide roads, infrastructure,
So the
security, police.
So the bare basics when it comes to the black community, but
So
everybody else they get
no,
affirmative
that's
action, resources and everything else.
that's for everyone. They weren't set up to be a surrogate parent.
Okay, they weren't set up to be a surrogate parent.
Never
Right?
was.
Fine.
The government was not set up to be a surrogate parent for
And that
fatherless
is,
people.
Paulo, I think you know that is not what I'm arguing. I am not arguing for the government to be a surrogate parent because the family course is an example that they are the worst surrogate parents. They are the most dishonest surrogate parents. Whenever they've had the opportunity to be a surrogate parent, they are not a good. The foster care system is a good example of
Well,
that.
then you're proving your own point. You're proving my own point. Then
the point that I was
making,
the
fact that they can't. The fact that they can't in that situation when there's a dispute. What makes you think they're going to be able to do it in the lives of ordinary people every day out there on the street, not in the courtroom?
Okay, Pablo, I would, to be honest with you, I wasn't going where you were going with the government. That's not where I was going. The point that I was making is that about a systemic problem. I'm talking about a systemic problem.
I understand it's systemic. I submit to that.
Well, brother Perfect Black,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use a word that I used earlier tonight. Because I'm a mechanic, I'm a power mechanic, I'm a mechanical engineer. I must have worked on, I don't know, tens of thousands of pieces of equipment in my lifetime. But a word that I do use from time to time is called irreparable.
Mm-hmm.
And irreparable means this fucking thing is so bad that what it's going to cost to fix, you can probably go and buy 2 of these. So, isn't it possible that some people are just irreparable? There is no fixing these people. There is no rehabilitating these people. There is no counseling these people. There is no laying them on a psychologist couch. These people are just going to do the shit they do, go to prison, be in prison for X amount of time, come out, do the same shit, go back to prison. Some of these people, and I would venture to say a massive amount of these people.
My
This is
brother's
just
that
who
way.
this is just who
My
they
brother's that way.
are.
My brother's that way. He's been in and out of prison for quite some time. Pretty much for a long time, and I don't. He really doesn't have much.
Is he irreparable?
Yes, and I've told him that. I've told him that. The only thing that will control him, the only thing that will keep him and other people safe is him to be behind lock and key. But again, now see, there's a flip side to that. And see, there's a flip side to that type of person that nobody wants to look at. Okay, is that how he got created? He just didn't wake up one morning and find himself, okay, this is how I'm gonna be. And see, this is where I go to, and me being an IT, I would kind of use more so also a IT term, right? The firmware from which his programming is all bad. So this is what it produces. The foundation of what we're talking about as this nation. This is what it produces. Sure, you got those type of people that are irreparable and all that. But yeah, this is what it produces.
Well, you and he are from the same family, correct?
What's that?
You and your brother from the same family, right?
Oh, absolutely. But we also had different circumstances, slightly different circumstances that really that determine the rest of that determine our future.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go into that.
Right. But at some point in time, you were both in the same environment, correct? Or no?
Yes and no. Because there were some environments that he was in that I wasn't in. And there were some environments that we both were in, and I had certain elements to help me that he did not have. And it was it was very, very key to our upbringing.
Well,
and I really didn't really understand a lot of that until I got older.
Even with that, because listen, I had a wonderful environment, and let me tell you, I still had choices I had to make.
Well, see, those choices are really easy when the
No, they weren't.
Okay.
No, they weren't.
Okay.
No, they weren't.
Okay,
They were very thought out.
Okay, well, let me
They
get
were
it
very,
out.
yeah, let me give you an example.
Let me get it. Let me get it out.
Go ahead.
When I say that those choices are, let me put it this way: those choices are easier when the circumference of your choices was birthed in a better environment. So it's like, what's the best analogy I can give to this? If I don't play the lottery, right? But if you got a whole bunch of pinballs that are positive and only a few that are negative, your chances of making a better decision of picking a positive pinball is going to be good. But if you got if you are in a whole sphere with way more negative pinballs, the chances of you picking that pinball that's going to be negative, it's going to be good. Now I know it's not that simple. The point that I'm making, because I wasn't raised with both parents either, but there was a time in my life where I had two foster parents who put rock on feet up my ass, and they weren't allowing me to use certain things as excuses. But that was during the time where you could do that. I'm 47. I was raised in foster care in a time where people didn't give a shit about kids, especially black boys.
Right.
I just happened to be so lucky to fall into the hands of decent foster parents who were the only foster parents who didn't abuse me. I can't say that for my brother. Now, he was with me and them for a time, but not for the time that I was with them. And even with them, I was with them on an on and off basis. My brother, it was totally, it was the same at certain points, but it was totally different at certain points.
Right.
When I went to the military, when I went to basic training, he was on a trajectory to go to prison for the first time. He had not been to prison. He had not even been arrested before I went to basic training. When I went to basic training, his life took a total turn for the worse. And that was because we share a parent who couldn't wait until I left. But I wasn't raised with my birth mother. I wasn't raised with her. I had already long gone and left my foster parents and moved into a place where my real mother, she lives here. It's one of the worst decisions I ever made in my life. And it could have ruined me. But my brother following me ruined him. And I've carried that for a very long time. So we've had different things that have helped us. I went to a military Naval Academy high school.
Right.
My brother didn't go to that. I was on honor roll all the time, but I also was suspended most of the time too. But because I had foster parents who kicked my ass off, he didn't have that most of his time. Now I'm not making excuses for him, and I've already told him. I said
you had correction. You had the correction to put you back.
Right.
Yeah, you had the correction to put you back on track.
I could have easily been where he's at. My anger levels and all that was the same as his. But there was nothing to really put him on the right road that was strong enough to do it that I had. He didn't have that. Again, I'm not making excuses. One, again, I've told him, I said, dude, you're irreparable, man. I mean, you ain't no repairing you. You got some thoughts in your head that you should not be left alone on the streets. You just shouldn't. Because he's going to do something to hurt himself or somebody else. Because he doesn't know how to control his anger. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
But see, that goes back to a system that creates
Well,
that stuff. And this is something, Pablo, that I maintain. I don't get into a lot of arguments and debates with a lot of people in the Black manosphere on this, but this is something that I maintain that the Black manosphere don't want to talk about. They would rather chalk it up to just individual choices as if it was that easy, because you're talking about applying individual choices and all that type of stuff to problems that is national. And you are invariably going to come to the wrong conclusion when you do that.
I understand it. Trust me, I understand it. I've dealt with and worked with people who have those kinds of issues. But you got to remember, society's issue and the system's function, like you said, is not quote unquote rehabilitation. It's to warehouse you so that and to protect the public.
And to get paid off you while they're doing that warehousing. You're absolutely right.
Well, now that's a part of a free of the functioning of a quote unquote free society. Well, when you have all of those freedoms,
say what it is.
Yeah, when you have all of those freedoms, guess what? It comes with a lot of personal responsibility, and those who do not have it, who do not have the impulse control and all of that kind of stuff that we saw on display just this week, those who do not have it will be corrected harshly.
And I would say that this nation is not geared towards fostering the masses to make good decisions and personal responsibility, as we just saw on at the Oscars. So if you recognize that, then you got to say, well, there's something systemic there, and then you have to start asking those questions as to why. We can't just get stuck in what personal responsibility and stop there. And
I think they know why.
Explain it.
Well, I think they know why. They know why. This has been studied. They know why. But, and here's the but, there's no way to implement the full force of arms of quote unquote government. First of all, they don't want to pay for it. To, like you said, to foster people en masse.
You see, now you said just that. I agree, but then again, I disagree, because we're talking about a government. They can find money to do any damn thing that they want to do. The United States government, I don't think people really understand just how powerful and rich this nation is. This nation can do whatever it want to do. This nation can do whatever it want to do. They have enough, and I'm not advocating for this. Please, I'm just trying to get people to really wrap their minds around about what this nation can do. This nation has enough money, liquid, to make everyone in the nation, to make every citizen millionaires, if they wanted to. But that ain't what they want to do, because that's not the interest of this nation. This is a capitalist nation. You got to go out and go get it yourself. So when we say, well, what this government can't do, I think people are saying that because it's been regurgitated so much, and people really don't.
There's no political will to do it. Put it that way.
Nope.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Now see, that's a different discussion, right? You're right on that. There is no political will on that. There is no political, but that's a completely different discussion.
But is this country capable of fixing the so many broken? I mean, there's too many broken people in this country, but I don't think this country can fix all the broken people.
To answer your question, yes. But he said it's very important. There's no political will to, because there's too many interests that counter it, that go up, that push up against it. There's just too many. So we're talking again. These are two different things. Can this nation do it? Does the nation have the ability to do it? Yep. Put that aside. Will they do it? Do they have the political will to do it? Do they want to do it? No. So these are two different discussions. And I think those two different discussions, they get conflated. They get merged together to where people can't really discern which is which. This nation can do it. Oh, yes, they can. I know for this nation can fight. They can defeat China and Russia at the same time. This nation has the ability to do it, and they have the finances to do it. People think that they don't. Oh, yes, we do. We have the finances to do it. We have the infrastructure to do it. We can do it. Trust me, this nation has this nation has the ability to do whatever it wants to do. But that's the optimum word. Whatever this nation wants to do. And in all of these problems that we're talking about here, this nation doesn't want to do it. Because
and see, Blackman, the people on the right fundamentally do not believe, and this is the divide. They fundamentally do not believe that is the role of government. I don't. Although I understand, I don't believe that the way that the founding documents of this country and the economic principle of the country are, that is a role that they want government to take, because then that goes down the road of the C word, communism, socialism, all of that kind of stuff, right?
Okay. So, now to that I would say that and you're right, that is their position, and to that I would say that is the consummate hypocritical position to take, because when it comes to the rich and corporations, they have no problem with communism. They have no problem with socialism. They have no problem at all the government with bailing them out and helping them. They got a word for this called fascism. Okay, so when it comes to the people is concerned, oh, we don't have the money to do it. Again, I'm not advocating for anything. I'm just observing.
No, we just having discussion.
What it is. When it comes to
healthy
the
conversation,
powerful and all of that, when it comes to all of that, there is no amount of money that they don't have. There is no amount of resources that they don't have. When it comes to the people, we ain't got the money. In particular, when it comes to black people, we definitely don't have it.
Well, no matter how much they spend, even if they start, dropping money from airplanes, I mean, some people aren't going to be fixed no matter how much money you put, into the kitty to try to fix folk. I mean, some people are beyond repair. Like I said, they're irreparable. So where do those people fit in? The people who just cannot be fixed no matter what you do. I mean, because that's gonna come as a cost too, right? Because these people are still in society. They're hurting people. They're doing shit to people. It costs to keep them locked up, don't it? It costs for people to be locked up. That's not free.
No, you're right, and you're absolutely right. But before I get to that, brothers, I do want to get to what Pablo said. What they would say that this isn't the government's role. I've always found that funny, because that is just a nice way to say I just don't want to do it. That's basically what it says. I just don't want to do it. It ain't our role. I just don't want to do it. That's basically what you're saying, because it ain't the government's role to bail out corporations, but they did it. It ain't the government's role to continue to give them the most tax breaks on the book, but they continue to do it anyway. It is not the government's role to continue to favor the top 1% or the top 5%, but they continue to do it anyway. It's all about what this government chooses to do. They can do whatever they want to do, whatever they choose to do. Again, we're talking about two different things. If this nation's government, if this nation wanted to do something, they would do it. What is not happening in this nation is because this nation doesn't want to do it. I'm talking about on terms of a national scale. It doesn't want to do it. It doesn't have an interest in doing it. You can go.
Yo, guys, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah,
I gotta go to bed.
I'm about to wrap this up anyway. Go ahead, give your parting shots, brother Pablo, before you get out of here.
Yeah, Perfect Blackness. Good seeing you, man. I love the
Good
conversation.
seeing you, bro. Good seeing you, man.
Yeah.
Good seeing you.
No doubt about it. I love the conversation. This is some very highbrow conversation we're having here. Maybe T.P.O.T can put it in debate form and maybe have two worthy adversaries go at it.
All they got to do is hit me up. That's how they made. I mean, people hit me up and it
Not
goes
me.
down.
Not me. I'm just throwing the idea out
Well,
there.
if you have any contenders or there's some contenders out there, y'all know what to do. Y'all know what the email is, and y'all. You got
Perfect Blackness and I did it. I doubt they would even they would even understand. We got into some pretty highbrow.
Yeah, we actually have serious conversations over here from time to time. Every now and then, a serious conversation breaks out. But
they'd have to do their reading to keep up with us. But yo, good night, everybody. Perfect Blackness. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, bro. Good night, man. Peace and be
Don't
safe.
be a stranger, brother Pablo. Don't be a stranger, brother. Yeah, my Shot-Town brother Perfect Black, man. Parting shots, man, before we get out of here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me up, man. I hope I didn't come over and turn over your tables or anything. And walk in the house with muddy shoes and didn't want to do that, man.
Nah, man. You're always welcome here, brother.
Right. This is an issue that's near and dear to me because I'm what you would call a boots on the ground type of guy. I see what these kids are going through and what what befalls them. And I used to have a more of an absolutist mindset to this, and but when I start getting my hands on people's kids, man, and I start to look in their lives, and I start to look beyond their lives, and I start to look at, God damn, man, this is a really systemic thing here, and we this is a serious problem that even good individual choices we just won't fix. If that was the case, we would have fixed it a long time ago because that's how human nature works. Human nature doesn't just choose to do. It just doesn't. It's not like that. When you have better choices, human nature is not going to choose the wrong choice. On scale, it's just not going to do that. This human nature. Human beings are not wired that way. But when you have when you have bad choices being done on every scale in every place, everywhere you go in a nation, you're talking about a systemic problem. And so, therefore, you cannot apply individual solutions. It won't work because it's not built for that. It's not. The nation is not built for individual solutions to fix systemic national problems. Those are scalpels. National problems need a broadsword, not scalpels. Scalpels are for individuals. Broadswords are for armies. 22 automatics are for individuals or just a few feet away. Tanks are for whole artilleries. Bombs are for whole areas and all that stuff. That's what we need to fix these problems. It's not going to come from just a few people making better choices. It's just not. The nation isn't, especially if you're a black male. Yeah, just taking a bite of that whole Horatio Alger myth, that is not going to help you. It's just not. There are whole barrels of roadblocks that are set up in front of you, and if you are not prepared to deal with that, like we see with the millennials and Gen Zs within the black, they are ill prepared to deal with the set roadblocks that society has set for them, and you can see that they don't know how to deal with it. Yeah, individual good choices is not gonna help that. Individual choice is not going to help them out of poverty. They've already, had the statistics on that. If you was born into poverty, your chances of getting out of poverty is going to be nil. Where's the good choices on that? Good individual choices or personal responsibility will not do anything about those statistics. So this is the reason why I say, brother, this is an area of the Black Manosphere where the Black Manosphere has a blind spot. Now, I'm not a hotepper. I think you know that. But this is because I am an advocate for the black manosphere. But this is the blind spot that I think the black manosphere need to get better. That's just my personal opinion. But thanks for having me up, man. Thanks for having me, and I apologize for arriving so late.
No, it's all good,
But like
you know.
SKC, I got family obligations, bro.
Yeah,
So
you know, people got shit they gotta do. I'm about to get up off of here now because I gotta go do some shit. Damn, knocking on my damn door right now. God damn it. But I appreciate you coming through, man. You know, always, brother Perfect Black. You know, you're my brother, man. You always got a spot here whenever you want it. You know that.
absolutely, I'm gonna go listen to that. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
listen to
man,
that
go check it out. I put the
yeah,
I put the link. Go check it out, man. It's
I
short.
got it
It's
queued
on,
up. I got it queued up.
it's
I gotta
only
listen
about
to
12 minutes. It ain't long. It ain't long. Check it out.
it. Absolutely, bro.
My brother. Peace.
All right, peace, man.
Yeah, man, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Shout out to Brother Friedman's Journal with the $5 super chat. He said, so what is your systemic solution? My solution, Brother Friedman's Journal, is get away from crazy Negroes, even if those crazy Negroes are related to you. Yeah, because I got people in my family that I don't even deal with because of the way they live their life. I mean, we have to stop thinking we tethered to motherfuckers because that we all black or we all got the same last name or we all got the same granddaddy. Or, nah, man. If you're a motherfucker that you about this bullshit type of lifestyle, go ahead and live it, man. You just can't live it around me. I'm going to make sure you're not living it around me. I just am. I'm going to make sure you live your crazy lifestyle away from me. I won't move you into my house. I won't be moving into a neighborhood that your ass live in. And guess what? Where I live at, you probably won't know the address. Yeah, you probably won't know it. That is the solution. I don't think the solution is government. I don't. I told Lady Sunkiss that, I mean, you put yourself in that fucking predicament, man, regardless of anything else, unless you got framed or some shit, or the cops planted some shit on you. Other than that, you put yourself in that position. So now that you're in that position, you're in said position. I don't think the onus should be on anybody else, man, to make your life better. You fucked it up. You fucked it up by robbing, stealing, shooting, whatever the hell it was. You fucked your life up. You did it. But now somebody else got to look out. Somebody else got to fix your damn life. Clean up a fucking mess that you made of your life. Nah, I don't believe in that shit, man. I don't. That shit sounds good. It sounds like this great act of piety. But man, you fuck up and you fuck up your life, it's up to you to fix it. Even if it means you may have to go out there and seek some help. Yes, you may have to seek some help. You may have to seek some help to get you a job, get you a place to stay, get you some food, get on your feet. You may have to seek some help, but you need to seek it if you need it. It shouldn't just be poured on you or just handed to you. It shouldn't be. As much effort as you put into getting yourself into prison, when you get out, I guarantee if you apply half of that effort on getting your life together, you might just be able to do it. Because it took effort to get to the penitentiary, didn't it? It took effort, right? You didn't just wake up one day and the fucking marshals was outside your house, right? And said, let's go to prison. No, it took effort. You had to do something to get there. You had to commit an act. You had to formulate thought to do what you did to get there. So guess what? When it comes time for you to walk your ass out of there, you need to do the same thing. You need to apply that same effort to get yourself right. Now, mind you, I've had a couple dudes come work for me that have been locked up, done a little time. The one dude, I think he did like 2 years. He comes and he works for us during the summertime. And he can work too. I don't hold it against him. But see, I'm not one of those type of dudes where, you done been to jail or whatever. I don't want you to work. I don't care about none of that shit. I mean, that shit don't bother me at all. If you can show your ass up at 7 o'clock in the fucking morning and do what's asked of you, I don't give a fuck how much time you did, how much crack you sold, or what motherfuckers you shot. I don't care about none of that shit. I really don't. But it's a choice. I mean, we've brought people around, man, and guess what? People that came around and they stole shit. Stole chainsaws and shit like that. Stole money, shit like that. I mean, I'm a true believer, man, that your destiny, man, is the sum total of the decisions you make in your life, man. Every motherfucking thing you did prepared you for what's going on right now. Your destiny is the sum total of the decisions that you make, man. And guess what? You make some fucked up decisions, man, and do some time in prison. Guess what? That is now part of your destiny. And I don't think somebody should be standing there with open arms helping you to fix it. Unless it's that person that helped you fuck it up. Maybe they should be helping you fix it. Your fucking co-defendants. The motherfuckers you robbed the liquor store with. The motherfuckers who you carjacked with and sold drugs with. Maybe those motherfuckers should be helping you because they helped you get in there in the first place. We got to stop this entitlement shit, man. That's a problem with us. We think we entitled. Get the fuck out of here, man. How is that fair to the people who spent all their fucking lives working? All the people who didn't fucking go to prison and rob and steal and shoot and do all this. And what about them? They had to work for their shit, man. They had to work for what they got. They had to make sacrifices. They decided not to fucking go to prison. Not to waste their fucking life, waste their fucking education, waste their time. But you decided otherwise. You decided to do all the shit that would get your ass locked up. Especially if you're a man with kids and shit like that. We spoke about the cost of criminality tonight. You going off doing 5 and 10 and 15 years, what does that cost those children that you have? What does that cost them? If you're a young guy, what does it cost your old mammy? Because no matter what you do, you can murder 5 people and she'll think your ass innocent. She's sending you packages, putting money on your fucking books. You're in there and she's still helping take care of your 35-year-old ass. What is that costing her? What is that costing her? And then when you get out, chances are when you get out, where do you go? Back to mama house? To some chick house you met while you was in prison? And depending on how long you was gone, you may still have the same woman. You may still have the same wife. Depending on how long you were gone. You come out, you got to start from scratch. What are the people who do decide to help you? What is the cost to them? What's it cost them to let you stay at their house? What's it cost to them to put in a good word for you to get a job? What's it cost them, man, to freaking loan you money? There is a cost, man. And it's usually a cost to everybody around you. Forget what it costs the state to house you. Forget what it costs the state to prosecute you and put you in custody and give you 3 hots and a cot for how many months or years. That's all quantifiable. But what does it cost the people who may actually care about your black ass? Because I'm a true believer that not all fucking losers are unloved or uncared about. There's plenty of fucking stomp down losers out there. People love them to death. They love them to death. Their old mama and aunts and grandmamas and they hoes and love them to death. But at what cost? When this person wants to live a life of criminality? At what cost? By loving this person who's in and out of prison. At what cost? This person who done went and shot and killed somebody. He hiding out at your house. He's stealing shit and putting it in your shed. He hang around with these motherfucking miscreants, said the wells. And they at your house. What does that cost? What does those things cost, man? Something to think about. Because I know, a lot of us, man, I said earlier, I got people related to me. Motherfuckers in and out of prison all the time. But that's the path they chose. The fucking onus ain't on me, man, to fix their damn life. It's like the onus ain't on nobody else. They're fucking adults. And this ain't about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, man. This is about doing what's right for you. And quit expecting other fucking people to do what's right for you. You need to do what's right for you. It's not other people's responsibility, man. It's not. And I think we need to stop thinking that. Because when other people have to take on your fucking responsibility, man, all that shit comes at a cost. It comes at a cost, folk. But that's all, man. We're going to get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody coming through tonight. Oh, our old brother Friedman, a coin drop. Hold on. My brother, I appreciate that $5 super chat. You know, when you drop coins on this platform, you get this. I appreciate you dropping your hard-earned coins on this platform. Appreciate that, brother Friedman's Journal. Yeah, man. Hey, it is what it is, man. And you know, all this criminality and shit that you seeing, man, it comes at a cost, man. None of this shit is free. Just because it's free to you doesn't mean it's free. I mean, I tell the young ones around here all the time, man. We go into like a fast food restaurant, and they go to grab 500 napkins. I'm like, no, man, no. Just because it's free to you doesn't mean it's free. I think that's something we need to start understanding. Just because it's free to you doesn't mean it's free. Somebody's paying for it, just not you. But anyway, um, yeah, man, we're gonna get up out of here. We're not doing a ridiculous race game tomorrow. We probably won't do. We're gonna do one next Saturday, but we're not doing one tomorrow. I don't even have anything lined up for this week. Uh, So just stay tuned, man. Check out the thumbnails. Might have a pre-record coming down the pipe. But other than that, we don't got nothing lined up, man. I've been really, really busy, y'all. The last couple of weeks, it's been crazy, man. Work starting to pile up. Um, just now getting my bearings over the last 2 weeks, man. Been doing some traveling and shit, man, and just been crazy, y'all. But I think I'm in North Carolina for the next few weeks. In another week, let me see, another 2 weeks actually, um, is me and my wife's anniversary. And what I want y'all to do, man, because we're not going out of the country because shit is fucked up. But last year we went to Florida, so I want y'all to give me some ideas of where we should go uh this year. Where should we go this year? Put them down in the damn comment section, and I don't know. I might take y'all advice. I might take y'all advice, maybe. So go ahead, put the suggestions down there in the comment section. You got to be in the United States though, no other overseas shit or no shit like that. It got to be in the United States. And if I decide to take I'll let y'all know, man. I'll hit y'all up, and what I'll do is I'll film while I'm there, and I'll shout you out and all that kind of shit. So yeah, so y'all give me some suggestions, man. Anywhere except Florida, because we went there last year. So I gotta figure out where we're gonna go. Figure out where we're gonna go. I was just like about Mexico. We ain't going no damn. We ain't going no damn Mexico. Niagara Falls is a good one. Do that, brother Taylor. That's a good one. That's a good one. I know that's not the states, but they touch. Yeah, I know they touch, Lady Sunkiss. Yeah, so y'all just let me know, man, and I'll figure it out. Cause in another 2 weeks, I got to come up with something good. Got to come up with something good. I don't know what I'm gonna do this year. I got a few ideas, but I figured I'd throw it out there amongst my folks, my followers. See what they got to say about it. You know, should probably be like, oh, ask the people that watch you on YouTube where to take me. Yep. I sure did. I listened to the people on YouTube. That's why we're here. I love it. But yeah, man, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, man. My man, brother Supreme, uh, brother Pablo Frescobar was here tonight as well. My Chi-Town brother, Perfect Black, and Lady Sunkiss. I appreciate everybody, man, for coming out here tonight, man. As always, it's always appreciated, man. You know, I appreciate the cash apps and the super chats and all that stuff, man. But more importantly, man, I appreciate your participation, man, more than anything else, man. You know, I don't take you good folks lightly, man. I never have and I never will. You got my word on that. And you know, this conversation gonna continue, man. Brother Pablo came up with a good idea, man. He said maybe we should debate, this stuff. And I agree. Maybe we should, man. You know, maybe we should have a debate on it, man. So if you want to, if anybody's interested in having a debate about this stuff, y'all know what to do. Go ahead, hit me on my email. Y'all know what the email is. It's properthought@yahoo.com. That's properthought, one word, no caps, at yahoo.com. And we can debate it, you know, if you want to. Next week is open. I don't have anything planned for Wednesday or Thursday. So hit me up on the email if you want to debate. If you got a particular person you want to debate, just let me know, man, and I'll do my best to set it up. You know, I had a timekeeper here in the whole nine. So yeah. So just let me know, man, what you want to do, man, and we'll do it. All right. All right. So with that, I will leave you good folk with 3 words, you know, like I always do. What about this? What about that?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that?
only from T.P.O.T Media. Open